The God of War Ragnarok hands-on previews are in, and it is looking very promising. I'm going to give you a very quick breakdown, combing over a handful of the previews. They're talking about combat, they're talking about enemy variety. We also have information about graphical performance. In light of some of the recent games that have come out, people are starting to get concerned about these consoles. I'm going to break it all down for you right here at the beginning of the video so you don't have to go searching for it, and we do it in the form of an update in this scene, and then we have a longer stream where we talk about it. It is a live show. Hit subscribe and the bell button so you don't miss these. This is a Reforge update. God of War Ragnarok previews are rolling in, and there won't be any spoilers contained in this, but I wanted to give you a glimpse at what everybody is saying about the game. We have info about the combat, enemy variety, as well as the graphical performance of the game. If you like these quick updates, hit subscribe and the bell button so you don't miss them. So we are going to be combing through IGN, Game Informer, Eurogamer, and GameSpot. There is some concern from at least one of the outlets about certain things, and I wanted to make sure we gave you the full scope. So under the subject of combat, IGN says the combat continues to be masterful in Ragnarok, and using all of the abilities at your disposal in the difference between life and death. Shoot arrows from Atreus to stop bosses from leveling up. Be sure to swap from your axe to the blades for effective area of effect flame damage, and leverage the new option of climbing vertically when an annoying acid spitting enemy won't get off your case. So IGN actually goes into a little bit more detail about the depth of the combat with your build. Some of the other ones didn't really seem to touch on that, which might be why they felt maybe it was too familiar. Game Informer said the combat for the first 5 hours feels mostly familiar to the previous experience, which is not a complaint. God of War's story may be the element you take away and think about long after seeing the credits, but the combat is what keeps you engaged in the moment. Unlike the 2018 game, Kratos does start with a larger arsenal, and it feels great to throw and retrieve the Leviathan axe again. They're touching on the fact that you start with an increased arsenal. Some of the articles touch on the fact that it seems that there is more beyond just the early game combat. Eurogamer. Combat has yet to really evolve from the 2018 game. You start with your Leviathan axe and Blades of Chaos and some basic attacks available, and so in part this will surely be down to the earliness of what I've played so far. I've yet to unlock more than a couple skills on the tree, and surely there'll be a surprise at some point, if only to try and match the fun of first unlocking the blades last time around. A small tweak is you can now hold triangle to freeze your axe or whirl the chains in fire, dealing extra damage and status effects on the next attack. I suspect that will develop into something more important over time, and you can now equip different shields with more offensive and defensive benefits, granting an extra level of thought to your parries, and I'm thinking so far and keen to play around more. For now, though, it's simple, kind of fun, that's still waiting to really get up to the full thrash metal tempo. So Eurogamer's like, look, it feels familiar, but that's to be expected, and there seems to be a lot more beyond. We did see also in the IGN article reference to the shields, what they added to the combat, as well as all of the different things in their build. Unsurprising that the way that many people approach this game is going to be different, so those builds will change over time. GameSpot said, when it comes to dealing with these conflicts, God of War sticks to the tried and true combat from the previous game. It still feels suitably intense thanks to the close-up perspective, where Kratos dominates the frame as much as he dominates his target. That sense of brutality that he's known for once again comes to the fore as he stomps around battlefields, rending opponents in two with his Leviathan axe and slicing up sweeps with the Blades of Chaos. At his side, Atreus holds his own with precision arrow shots from a distance, and should the situation call for it, merciless use of his knife up close. So the summary I gathered from most of these previews is that, listen, combat feels familiar but expanded. If you want to see it evolve, it seems that you're going to have to play more than just sort of the early stages of combat. Now, IGN spoke with the animation director Bruno Velasquez, and he said, you can actually finish enemies much faster if you stun them and then get to the finisher quicker. So again, it's offering more options to the player. Now, this was in light of IGN saying the more they played with their build, the more different the game felt. So there is depth there that once explored will feel better. I think that is something that at least one of the other articles, I feel like they didn't really dig down deep into the different builds and felt that, you know, the combat was sort of samey. Well, if you don't invest in the builds and the shields, that's bound to be the result. Now, as far as graphics are concerned, nobody really commented on, but the graphics performance options were revealed. There are going to be 4. Now, keep in mind, this is in the wake of people claiming that these consoles aren't strong enough to do some of this, because Plague Tale Requiem and Gotham Knights are kind of getting taken to the cleaners for being very poorly optimized games. Beyond that, there's other criticisms that those games are getting. Gotham Knights getting the heavier amount of actual gameplay criticism, but theories started to form that, oh, these consoles aren't strong enough. Well, that's simply undeniable in the wake of Modern Warfare 2's performance, as well as these options for God of War Ragnarok. There will be the option to favor resolution, which is 4K resolution with a targeted 30 frames per second. If you want to favor performance, you will get a dynamic upscaled 4K with a targeted 60 FPS, meaning that your dynamic upscaled 4K will be changing and then the FPS is a target. However, you can favor resolution and frame rate, and you will get 4K with a targeted 40 FPS. You will need a VRR monitor, variable refresh rate monitor, or television is required. Favor performance and high frame rate mode. You can do a dynamic upscaled 4K with a targeted 120 FPS. VRR is required here as well. There's also the 120 mode in Modern Warfare 2. So anybody peddling this idea that these consoles aren't quite strong enough is simply lying to you. Enemy variety was also discussed. Game Informer said one of the few common complaints from the first game was a lack of enemy variety, and the team and developer at Santa Monica Studio clearly took that criticism to heart for the follow-up. Even having only played 5 hours, I believe I've killed more enemy types and fought more mini-bosses with unique defeat qualifiers and designs than I did in the entirety of the first game. Not every new enemy is exciting. I killed a lot of single-hit scurrying lizards, but I am grateful for the variety, especially with the larger enemies. So just in the first 5 hours, Game Informer saying, I think I fought more variety than the entirety of the first game. Eurogamer said one of the only major complaints was from the wider public was enemy variety, and that, in my experience so far, with several mini-boss fights already against entirely different foes, has been answered. So they feel that that criticism has been answered. Virtually all of the game, the God of War hands-on previews said high praise for story elements, character growth, changes, and the writing. Obviously, we're not going to get into spoilers here. I'm curious what you think. Is this enough to push you down the purchase aisle? There are people that are already locked and ready to go. They've already bought the game, pre-ordered. They're going to be playing it day one. There were people that were concerned the game wasn't going to go far enough or it was going to be held back. Some articles I did see were still trying to peddle that. I'm going to actually take one of the statements from an article and discuss it in the live audience. If you like live content, check out Reforge Gaming, but I would love to hear what you have to say in the comments below. As always, hit subscribe and the bell button on this video, and I'll see you in the next one. And I'll see the rest of you right now. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome into another week, another day. It is Monday, so let's start off strong. And we're starting off strong with Kratos. This is all very encouraging. These hands-on previews, they sound very promising. They really, really do. I get the feeling that they're just getting the taste. The embargo drops on November the 3rd, so right now we're only getting early previews. It sounds like they're only allowed to talk about certain things, and they're only allowed to talk so far, which makes sense. They're not wanting to, they're not wanting to say too much too soon. I mean, that's not unsurprising. Whenever you want to get people interested in a game, you kind of want to trickle everything out. You don't want things to be going and going and going, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, we said too much all of a sudden, and that's not ideal, right? You don't want people feeling like, well, Man, oh man, did you guys you guys told us everything like in the first month. I think a lot of times people get frustrated by this because, you know, they want to know everything right now. But marketing tends to do this. They tend to trickle things out. So as far as I can tell, we're going to get full rundown reviews. Embargo will be dropping on November the 3rd. Make sure you guys are going through your morning ritual. You don't want to be on top chat. You want to be on live chat. And also, you're going to want to make sure that you have smashed the like button. That really helps us out. So let's have a strong start to the morning. I'm ready for Ragnarok, says the doctor's office. Good morning, Feed. I see you in the chat. Good morning. I'm so ready for 120 FPS. I'll drop my embargoes on November the 3rd, says Tony. Morning, sir. Have an awesome day in stream. Thank you. I need someone to give me a hands-on preview. Oh, golly, stop it. Yo, what's good? Smashville Khaled says, good morning, Lono, everybody. More like Shagnarok. Am I right? Right. Now, there were consistent comments from people playing this that they said, look, it feels familiar, and I don't think that that's abnormal. I don't think that's abnormal for a game like this to feel familiar. In general, I think that if you're going to be playing a game like this, it's going to start out, and yeah, it's going to feel like the last game. You're going to have your weapons. You're going to have Atreus. There was comments about the fact that, like, well, you start out with more weapons than the last time. Like, the last time you don't have a whole lot at your disposal. And then all of the previews seem to indicate that God of War Ragnarok gameplay will evolve as you level up and buy things. Like, some of these guys haven't bought in a lot of the perks or invested in anything. They're just sort of playing the early game. I saw a few saying it feels like a PS4 game, but not as a criticism. The only thing I could find of substance about that, I mean, I'm happy to read through anything with you guys if you think there's something out there that is legitimate, right? If you think there's a legitimate take. The one guy was talking about, like, you know, squeezing through cracks and hallways. And it's like, okay, you know, I get that. They're going to have to do the single shot thing, which means they're going to have to hide some of the loading screens for the PS4. I don't necessarily know if that's a deal breaker. Like, oh no, there's the classic God of War hidden cutscene, or I'm sorry, not hidden cutscenes, you know, hidden loading screens. Never saw anything about it being like PS4. I definitely saw some commentary about it, that they felt like, oh no, yeah, this thing definitely is still, you know, largely a PS4 game. Yeah, somebody tried to, I blocked them on Twitter. Somebody tried to show me something from the Thor fight, so I just blocked them. Talika hits a 6-month milestone. Morning Lono in chat. Figures my milestone chat shows up 10 days after I renew. Cannot wait for God of War Ragnarok. Playing God of War 2018 to recap before I get the Jotnar edition at my doorstep. Good for you, Talika. There was a renewal during the opener. SDMF 810 renewed their membership as well during the show open before we were live. Thank you so much for that. Dev said hidden loading screen is not because of the PS4. Oh, wait, so Tommy, did the dev speak to that? The dev came out and addressed that, basically said it was for immersion more than hiding loading screens. So they do it for immersion, so I guess what they're saying is like there would not be the ability to completely avoid loading screens. Is that what they're saying? So it's an artistic decision. It's an artistic decision to be like, hey, we're wanting to give you guys this feel, right? Like, oh, it's a single shot, it's cinematic, it's a movie, and that's why we do that. That's why we do the single shots through the hallways. Dev tweeted about it not being hidden loading screens. Okay, so the dev's shooting that one down. One shot demands it as far as I know. Yeah, what's good, Avacake? A bunch more images have leaked online. Yeah, be careful. We will not be covering God of War Ragnarok leaks here. I will not be doing that. I don't even want to do a stream where I warn people about it. What's good, we the people? Happy Diwali to everyone celebrating. Oh, is it Diwali right now? I can never remember when it is. Is it usually, what, like a month before Thanksgiving? Is that typically when it lands? Have we discussed the haptics yet? No, we've not discussed the haptics yet. There's an entire Sony blog about everything in the game, and we could take a look at it if that's something that you guys would like to do. Hands-on Gameplay Report was a blog post that hit last week on the 21st. We've got that. Hey bro, give a shout out. Happy Diwali. Yo, it's good. Have to discuss the haptics. Happy Diwali. It's about to prevent people from. Hey, look at that. What just happened? What's that? It's this automated. That's a second camera. Did it fade back or flip back? Did that work? I hope it worked. Hang on. That's new. That's new. I just said it and forgot it. Hang on. When second cam's out, you go full scale. Did it fade for the second one? Fade? It's supposed to fade. It faded? Okay, cool. Cool. Yeah. We have a second camera. Oh, it changes me off of Stinger. Well, that's interesting. I'm going to have to do forced transitions. Yeah, I'm going to have to do forced transitions on certain things because it changes me off of the Stinger in OBS. So certain scenes we're going to want to do like full screen card. We're going to want to do transition override Stinger so that anytime I come over here, there we go. Yeah. It's okay. Yeah, see, I'll have to play with it. Because I think we want it to fade. I think anytime we go to this, we want it to fade. We don't want it to stinger into this scene. But at the same time, I don't know if the stinger would be the right choice or not. The new camera angle looks like higher res. It is literally the exact same camera. It's literally the exact same camera. I have two Sony a6000s. There's nothing different between them at all. Anthony A with 14 months. Good morning, everyone. Lono said he has to play with it. I do. I have to play with it. I also don't know how often I want it to do it. I have it on 5 minutes. Yeah, I think 5 minutes is pretty good. Anytime I'm in this scene for 5 minutes, it'll give you a 10-second of the other angle. Maybe the other angle should be a little bit longer. Let's go for 15 in the other angle. So I've not done much with it. I have I also have it rigged up for the Lego stuff. I've got my table. I'm good to go. I think we might have a name. I was having my daughter help me with the name. What will the angle be used for? Just to spice things up. You know what I'm saying? You just spice things up. It's called I forget what it's called. It's basically a way to people are like, oh wow, the camera changed. There's psychology. There's actually a psychology behind why you should not always be in a static single shot all of the time. Good morning, Simon. Good morning, Mac. How are you? Bitrate looks higher today too. I've not done anything. The lighting is a little bit different. I've moved my light slightly, so maybe I'm lit in a way that makes it look better. I don't know. I like it. It definitely looks higher res. The only thing I could think that would make it look higher res is... Yeah, no, both are stretched slightly. Just the slightest bit. Need a quick multi-flip of the angles for when you do a comic breaking news bit. Yeah. I need a scene I can go to where I'll be like, this just in, you know what I'm saying? Right now I have it set to this just in. It's only going to be here for 15 seconds, so I'd have to go really, really fast because it's not going to be on that angle for very long. And I can't hide certain things in the room anymore. I have to leave that corner. I have to leave that corner of the room clean now. Love to see you have more viewers. Feels good. Thank you so much. If you guys are just tuning in, we're talking about God of War Ragnarok hands-on gameplay previews. They're here. And I got to tell you, they're sounding very, very good. According to the developer, the alleged hidden loading screens in God of War Ragnarok are not related to the PS4 limitation. There you go. Clean the ground corner. Yeah. Yo, Khalid with 14 months. Give the camera control to me. Believe the show is going to be hilarious. Can't believe it's been 14 months. Absolutely proud of you. Thank you Thank you very much. Yeah, we just got 200 likes on the video, guys. Thank you for that. If you've never been here before, welcome on in this morning to Reforge Gaming. We're talking about God of War Ragnarok gameplay. The hands-on previews are out in the wild, and they're sounding very, very good. Many people already sort of weighing in and saying things like, hey, will it be held back? Will it be, is it going to feel old gen? Is it going to feel like PS4? To the point that people have speculated that the, moving through hallways and tight corridors, people have been saying that, like, oh, that's them hiding loading screens. And the developers have responded and said, no, that's not us hiding loading screens. That's an artistic decision because we do single camera shot. The whole game starts and it'll be one seamless camera shot, and that's one of the ways that they achieve that. Message all in chat. Lono is not going to talk about leaks. Yeah. I'm not going to talk leaks. Please don't put them in chat. God of War Ragnarok doesn't release until November the 9th. The Arna 3 release is also November 3rd. Probably just coincidence. God of War is also the same date. No, the God of War Ragnarok embargo drops on November the 3rd, Polarin, but not the game itself. The game itself drops on November the 9th. Don't want to hijack, but the deluxe God of War is cheaper than the deluxe Gotham Knights. Oh, golly. Yo, what's good, old soul? And so what if it was? Well, here's the thing, Enzian. I actually like that the developers are squashing that and being like, no, that's not. Do you see what the problem is when people speak as if they don't know? What's one of the primary things I've been pushing back on with God of War Ragnarok? What have I been consistently saying? We don't know what they could have done, right? This presumed ideal version of a video game that you feel you're missing out on because of cross-generational support, it's drenched in ignorance, and it's put on full display with gaming journalists or gaming bloggers or whoever started saying like, oh yeah, they're hiding cutscenes, or they're hiding loading screens by making us walk through these hallways and narrow passageways, and the developers are like, no, we're not. That's not what we're doing at all. You're speaking out of turn. We are quite literally doing a single shot game stylization, and that's part of how we achieve that. We're not hiding loading screens. Yo, Storm with a 12-month milestone. That's a whole year. Welcome back in, and it's a tier 2. Thank you very much. How's the beginning of the game? Based on all of the previews that we read through Eurogamer, Game Informer, IGN, and GameSpot, it sounds like this is the general consensus. God of War Ragnarok combat is familiar, yet the evolution of it, the expansion of it, is something that you will do as you level up and do more with your build. That was one of the things that seemed to be a consistent note. A very consistent note was, listen, it feels familiar, but there's all these things I can invest in and build. The IGN guy was like, man, I really, really enjoyed this one shield. I was mastering parrying. It completely changed my gameplay. Doing things with the trays completely changed. Like, it basically, sounds like a sequel. Like, that's what. So people are probably going to try to run to some of these and say, oh my gosh, I can't believe they're saying it feels familiar and you have the same weapons. I guarantee you there'll be people that'll run narrative, like a negative narrative with these previews. Godslayer Tactician with the $5 tip through Super Chat. People need to realize the hidden loading screens are for pacing and immersion. The game is going to be incredible, by the way. People are just hating. Well, they're not hidden loading screens, so I'm glad you put it in quotations. They're not actually hiding loading screens. That's not true. They spoke out about that. So anybody who's trying to like come up with this, oh, this game's been held back, and here, here's all the proof. They're constantly hiding. They're hiding loading screens with these cutscenes, or they're not cutscenes. It's like you walking through like a passageway, right? Yo, Gale Windforce with a 5-month milestone. Thank you so much for being with us that long. Love the shows. Keep it up. Thank you very, very much. People trying to complain on hidden loading is bonkers. When the first games did on the PS3, it was revolutionary. Single shot has been the dream for a decade. I'm always amazed at the complainers. New camera angle, that was interesting. Yeah, we've got like an automated new camera angle now. So periodically it'll just kick over here to create this, you know, it feels like you're in like a professional studio watching a professional show. I mean, I'm not saying that you are. We just want you to feel like you are. Right? So, see? Oh, there it's gone. It's all automated. It's all automated. I can't turn it off. I don't know how it works. Did I get everybody? I did. Where did they say that? I'd like to read about it. We've got a Game News 24 article addressing it here. Let me pull it up and let's take a peek-see here at their response to this claim that, oh, you're hiding loading screens. As if, again, the presumption that drove the hidden loading screens is that there's some version of this game where you're not like dealing with any loading screens or something like that. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I should just be able to bash through to the next area. Does that make sense? I've been in that room. Lono must have rented a storage space over the weekend. Okay, very, very funny here. All right, here we go. So according to, this is an article that I pulled here, and this is GN24 Video Game News, all right? Okay, so here we go. The release of the Sword Savage Ragnarok, there's a lot to discover in articles and critics, the PlayStation 4 and its high-performance SSD, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so is that true? To the right extent, Kurt Moganu, game director of Uncharted Lost Legacy and Last of Us Part 2, decided to join the discussion on Twitter. According to a veteran Naughty Dog, the presence of these areas also means that a special game design option has been made. According to Kurt, developers often use squeeze-through tight space sections to push the player into the next place and prevent them from coming back. Archived from what Kurt said, these sections are more for dramatic effect, to close the player in a tight area. So this is not Santa Monica. Do we have a response from Santa Monica? This is another guy weighing in and saying it's not it's not just to hide loading screens. So we don't know that again, you guys said that one of the guys from the devs said it. Like one of the devs said it or whatever. Let me see. Do we have that? Dude, that's a Naughty Dog dev explaining why they use squeeze through areas. Yeah, I'd want to see if Santa Monica actually weighed in. I thought that's what we were dealing with. This guy's basically saying that we don't use stuff like that to hide loading screens. We use it for immersion, and he might be defending God of War Ragnarok accurately, but do we have an official response from anybody who worked on Ragnarok instead of a guy from another company would be my question. Old Soul with 19 months says, keep it up, Lono. Thanks for sticking with me for 19 whole months. If you guys are enjoying the show, it is free to smash the like button. We only need about 50 more likes for a really strong start to the day. You can also consider becoming a member. It's $5 a month to become a member, and we really, really appreciate everything you guys have been doing to support the channel. Lots of gifted members, lots of positive contribution. We will be jumping back into MW2's campaign today. Good morning. Thank you, Reforge, for getting my wife, Tiffany, and I to try your coffee and convert us to the coffee. Hey, Robbie. We appreciate that very much, man. We appreciate everybody supporting the Reforge Roast Coffee. Significant Ragnarok spoilers. Yeah. We've been very careful. Captain Kuba covered it yesterday on his channel. She weighed in on Twitter. Somebody actually from the company weighed in on Twitter. A person from Santa Monica did say it wasn't hitting loading screens. Forgot who. All right, hang on. Let's just do a quick Google search then. God of War Ragnarok hidden loading screens. Somebody's going to be running the story, right? The alleged are not released due to the PlayStation 4 limitation. Let's see here. This is veteran Naughty Dog. Yeah, this is the exact same article I just read. Let me go to the Google News feed. Here's how it plays on the PS4. Ragnarok's the most accessible game. Somebody's going to have to try to find the tweet for me. I don't see any articles that have actually grabbed the tweet and run with it. No spoilers, but the MW2 campaign's so good. Finished my veteran run. Congrats, man. Love that the game is running perfectly on PS4. 4. I'm so glad that the case makes even more excited about the only 16 more days. That's right. Yeah. No. We're not covering spoilers, Wishbone. We're warning people that they're out there and to be careful when you're on Twitter. Are you hiding loading screens with your new camera angles? I mean, maybe. I mean, sometimes I have to reboot my programming, and we use this camera angle here to hide when I'm restarting, and I should be good to go now. We're back to our regular scheduled program. There we go. It's almost like there's production in the studio doing something for me. Thanks, guys. There's nobody here. It's just me. I'd be surprised if Santa Monica comments on this before the game comes out. I bet you we could track down the tweet. Somebody can track it down for me, I bet, before day's done. Everyone should play the last game before Ragnarok comes out. Story is so good. Yeah, you should definitely play God of War 2018 before this comes out. We've got some plans on catching everybody up, that's for sure. Godslayer Tactician with a $2 tip through Super Chat. Midler from VGC said it looks better than Horizon Forbidden West. Still hiding the phone books that he sits on. Yeah. Read my previous comment. I sent her Twitter. Okay, hang on 1 second. Known as bad. Let me try to find you in the chat. A person from Santa Monica forgot who. Oh, you probably tried to post a hyperlink. Known as BD. Can you find me their Twitter handle? Is this Barlog? Sometimes we had to pull a few little tricks, but we're talking about 6 to 8 tricks in all the whole game. The rest of it's just an absurd amount of planning and technical tricks. I need the Twitter handle. I think you tried to post a link known as BD and it didn't come through. Have a good day and show. I won't be here because, Mondays and Wednesdays be great to each other. All right, Wheeze. This is in regards to the 2018 single shot. The squeeze-through sequences are undoubtedly one of those tricks. Yeah, but I don't know. People are claiming there was somebody from Santa Monica that weighed in on this on Twitter, and we're trying to track them down. Did you get the Last Wish PlayStation email? No, I did not get that. I can't take it back. The screenshots we've seen apparently don't do this game justice. You take that back. Forbidden West is the best looking game I've played thus far. Leal Duck, if Horizon Forbidden West is the best looking game that you've played so far, then wouldn't it be exciting? Harley Onar is her name. Sorry, I'm having some difficulties this morning. All right, let me go to Twitter. Let me look for this person. Technical narrative designer working on God of War Ragnarok. All right. If someone calls a squeeze through crack in a wall level hidden loading screen one more time, did she elaborate in a thread, or is she just saying that? She's not saying any. She's expressing her frustrations. She's not actually speaking to whether or not it is. My Ratchet and Clank, y'all losing in preview. Sorry this is happening. Gamers are rabid. Happy to help. There's a place in Culver City. No. Be nice. Yeah, she's excuse me. She is expressing frustration with people saying that. It seems as though if we take what the guy from Naughty Dog said and her frustration, yeah, maybe it's not. Right? Maybe it's not a hidden loading screen. What's funny is, I want you to think about something with me. God of War Ragnarok is apparently so good that that's the thing that we're going to talk about. Well, sometimes you open a door and it's animated and the camera doesn't cut, and I think that maybe they're hiding a loading screen. I think that that's what's happening. If that's the worst thing, then I think we're in a good spot. You have to check the comments on the tweet, but she didn't seem to reply. She replied to one person and told them to be nice. I'm not seeing her saying that it is or it isn't a loading screen. The point is, we're getting lost into the details. whether it is or whether it isn't, if this is what we're talking about, then people are desperate, right? People are desperate. If this is what, now to be fair, the God of War Ragnarok hands-on gameplay previews that I read from, and I gave a summary at the beginning of this video, they had nothing to say about any of this. They said it was great. They said it was familiar. They said that the combat, the one guy said the combat didn't feel that evolved, but he also hadn't really tapped into any of the new stuff yet. And he said there's probably more coming about that. There's only one airlock in our game, and it's not a squeeze-through, came from the comments. Oh, there's only one airlock in our game, and it's not a squeeze-through. Yeah, whether or not it's a hidden loading screen is not really the point. The point is if your game caliber is that good, that's what people are potentially griping about, then I would say you've succeeded well in your game design. You guys like the new camera angle? You like that? We got our second camera. I've got a rig in the ceiling. I'm ready to start making the Lego content. So we're spicing it up here in the studio. We're making it pretty. And I had to get one of my other LEDs going again. So we got a little bit of red in the corner. A little bit of red. Elden Ring showed their loading screens. I guess it deserves Game of the Year over Ragnarok. No, that's good. That's good. You know what? I really think a game like Elden Ring, that you should show your loading screens like a man. Like a man. Show me them. Don't hide them from me. Show me a loading screen with generic tips of gameplay in it. I remember whenever I got the update of Ghost of Tsushima, and there was no loading screen. I was like, there was no loading screen. Like, it took me by surprise. Is the studio still in the basement? Looks nice. What do you mean, is it still in the basement? We bought a house 2 years ago. I'm in a finished basement that's been actually professionally sound dampened by a guy that works in, like, professional recording studios. What do you mean? I've been in here since early 2020, man. We have not been in the dungeon. The dungeon duplex place, when we lived in the duplex and I streamed like a cement dungeon, that was like two years ago. This is like a fully finished basement. So it's in the basement. Well, he's sounding surprised. It's not the place. It's not the place that I came from, that I used to stream in, right? Not to turn your head away from the topic, but Sonic Frontiers reviews is out, more gameplay. Okay, if we feel it's the right call, we'll cover that tomorrow, Wishbone. That's why I asked. It doesn't look like a basement. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel like a basement when you're down here. It's really nice. The new camera is for Lono's OnlyFans. That's right. You know what? I'm actually glad I've lost a lot of weight. Like, this is a shirt I couldn't wear anymore because I was heavier. Like, I have this and I have a Spider-Man shirt and a Thor shirt. I couldn't wear them. They weren't comfortable. I've lost around 20 pounds in the last 2 years. I've lost a lot recently. I've lost about 10 pounds recently, probably in the last 2 months, I think. And I was like, really, we got this camera angle set up, and I looked at myself from this angle, and I was like, oh, okay. Like, I'm kind of glad I lost some weight. Because this wouldn't be a very flattering angle if I hadn't slimmed down a little bit. A $2 tip from Godslayer Tactician. I guess critics want regular loading screens. That's what I'm saying. You know? Elden Ring deserves Game of the Year because they actually show us the loading screens. Do you know what I'm saying? And we have developers. We got a guy from Naughty Dog, and we have somebody that worked on Ragnarok that are like, yeah, that's not really what this is. Squeezing through a crack or opening a door is not necessarily hiding a loading screen. It's an immersion mechanic. It's an artistic decision. It's single shot. The better question you should be asking is, how many games do you play that are single shot? How many have you played that are single shot? And how many? Right? Like, that's the point. There's amazing scenes in, like, the movie, what is it, Children of Men? They do, like, this amazing single shot sequence with sound and is it Gerard No, it's not Gerard Butler. It's the other guy. I forget his frickin' name. And he's in the street, and like a bomb goes off, and there's smoke and rubble and sound distortion. And it's this amazing, captivating single shot. They did the same thing recently in like a war movie. 1941 did a couple of just breathtaking single shots. And playing a video game with single shot, you have to consider the work that they have to do to deliver that to you. You know? It's funny still seeing the cope with Gotham Knights. Yeah, Clive Owen, thank you. It's Clive Owen. I don't know why I get him confused with Gerard Butler. They don't look alike, but yeah, Clive Owen. I mean, maybe they could be like brothers in a movie or something, but they don't look that much alike. I shouldn't be confusing them. I'm sorry, 1914, not 1941. Yeah, 1914. 1941's too late. A $5 tip from Smashville Viking. Gotham Knights runs like a constant loading screen. Sorry, not sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Friday was a blast. Keep it up, homie. Yeah. Whenever I push out a short on that game, I either get told that, man, like, I'm getting a lot of comments on my older shorts about the game, and people are like, this one guy was like, my man traveled to the future and he tried to warn us and no one listened. And then it's either that or people being like, I think it looks great. What are you talking about? Like, okay. The mocap and voice work alone is impressive. Then you add in gameplay requirements, right? Why is no one talking about those chains in God of War 2018 that you kicked down and Kratos also started going downwards with it? It's a nitpick, but annoying AF. I hope they don't bring those back. You don't automatically go down when you kick the chains, do you? So what you're saying is you kick the chains for the shortcut and you automatically start climbing? I feel like I just played and that didn't happen. I could be misremembering. You could be correct and I could be wrong. I don't really remember that. You do start automatically climbing down? Oh, that's unfortunate. I forgot about that. Because you're not always doing it to climb down, right? You're doing it sometimes to... Lono, when did hiding a loading screen become a valid criticism of any game ever in the history of video games? I'll tell you when, Corey, when people create false narratives about a game being held back because it's cross-generationally supported, because people want to make sure everybody knows they're completely ignorant about the versatility and the agility of game engines, since, I don't know, you can look at low-end performance of games on PC and all these great next-gen features that are jammed in. Are those games then also not next-gen? It's just ignorance. That's essentially what it is. It's like, hey, everybody, I don't understand how game development works and how engines have versatility and agility and adaptability. I don't really understand that, so I'm just going to presume that I'm getting some held-back version of a game because it's cross-generationally supported, and I'm going to then stack on top of that presumption another presumption. This presumption is that anytime I squeeze through rocks or open a door or have basically a seamless transition from one area to the next, that's the developers hiding a loading screen. I'm going to then retroactively take this plus that most people think is pretty cool. I'm going to turn it into a negative, supported only by presumptions and ignorance. That's what we're dealing with. Like, fundamentally, that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with people that are so desperate to find something negative to say about the game that that's where they have to go. Oh, well, they're hiding loading screens. Let's just say that they are. They're not. But let's just say that they are. Why is that a problem? I don't understand. Oh, it's being held back. So then there would have been some other version of the game where instead of opening the door or squeezing through the rock, you know, the cracks in the rock, instead of doing that, you would have just like charged through, I guess. What a detriment to the game experience. Again, according to a guy from Naughty Dog and according to one of the people that worked on Ragnarok, that's not what these are. That's not what these are. You're not dealing with a loading screen being hidden. It's a one-shot camera take immersion choice. It's literally an artistic decision to do this. They do this in many games now. It's if you're going to commit to make a game that has this, that's what you're going to have people doing. Agility, adaptability, balance, acidity. That's right. Not sure how they say it's held back when graphically it's only matched by Horizon Forbidden West. Well, we haven't gotten an actual in-detail, in-depth breakdown of God of War Ragnarok gameplay, right? We have the God of War Ragnarok performance options, which points to a pretty awesome game, okay? Last week was such a weird week, okay? So, Plague Tale Requiem comes out, and it runs bad everywhere. It's a beautiful game, and it runs pretty awful. Now, they could fix that with optimization, and I believe that there's a good game underneath. But then Gotham Knights came out, and it's probably one of the worst video games I have ever played, and I've played a lot. And I don't throw around statements like that haphazardly. It's bad. Like, it's a bad game. The performance issues are the least of their worries. Because if they optimize that game and squeeze better frames per second out of it, you still got everything underneath. You have a garbage game underneath. So there were people running with the narrative that, well, these next-gen consoles just aren't as strong as we thought. They're just not as strong as we thought. So we're not going to get a lot of 60 FPS. There were literally people making posts, tweets, and YouTube videos saying, yeah, 60 FPS just isn't really going to be a thing. It just is too hard for these consoles. And Modern Warfare 2, like, rolled its sleeves up and was like, we'll do you one better. How about 120? And then Ragnarok drops its performance options. Like, yeah, we'll do you one better. You want 120? Yeah, real hard. It's real hard to hit 60. You're right. And they're over there just benching like twice that. They're like, yeah, it's pretty tough, isn't it? 120. Ugh. Woo. And then Callisto Protocol is like, yeah, we're going to have a performance option with 60. So we had like a little blip in the ethos of bad thought process in gaming. It was, oh no, these things just aren't going to be strong enough, man. And then actual developers with actual abilities to optimize their games walked out and said, what are y'all talking about? What are y'all even saying? 60? Oh no. 60. Yeah, 60's so tough. What? What do you mean? It's not at all. The PlayStation 5 and the Series X are very, very, very strong. Like, obviously, if you go to, like, the highest end PC, you know what I mean? You go to the highest end PC, you might say, oh, yeah, these things aren't that strong, but that's not what we're questioning. But God of War Ragnarok is going to show just how strong PS5 is. No optimization are more than bad, but it runs at 120 or 60 on a very good PC. It's about drop frame rate. Trust me, playing on 30 on next-gen console is the beginning. After all, if everyone buys and accepts this, why working on 60 FPS? Oh, is that guy saying that people are going to accept this? I'm just going to ban this person. Godslayer Tactician with a $2 tip through Super Chat. Has there been a game on console with 120 FPS? I mean, there were some games that you could run FPS boost on and hit 120, but they're old games. You can run FPS boost on the Series S and the Series X, and you can get some old games to run at 120. And then Modern Warfare 2 just dropped at 120. Guys, if you're enjoying the show, do me a favor. A lot of people here this morning were combing over the God of War Ragnarok hands-on gameplay previews. I broke them down at the beginning of the stream. If you want it too long, didn't read, you can rewind and watch that or just ask me. Thank you so much for being here. Do me a favor, if you're here all the time, go through your ritual. Make sure you're smashing the like button, and don't be on top chat. You want to be on live chat. So hyped for God of War. Every God of War pushes the industry standard toward greatness. I think Discord is on the wrong mic. Oh, you know what? I bet you it did. I bet you it's pulling off of the new camera. No, it's pulling off of... Wait, input device should be this. Is that better? No, that's not going to work. I'm going to have to... I'm going to have to reboot Discord, which I hate doing in the middle of a broadcast. Knack 3. God of War Ragnarok is a DLC game. Duncan, are you typing jokes or are you being serious? Because stream just started, almost over. We've been streaming for 49 minutes. We've basically just started for the most part. Speak on stage. Okay, that should be the right microphone. Thank you, Paul, for drawing my attention to that. Anytime you plug in a new device, Discord is like, I'm not kidding you. You plug in any new device and Discord's like, hey, do you want to use that? Are you sure? You already have a microphone and headphones, but you just plugged in something new. Do you want to use it? Are you sure? Well, even though you said no, we're going to switch it anyway. We switched it for you. We already did it. Frickin' morons. Like, leave my settings alone, you dummies. When convenience becomes an inconvenience. Jiminy frickin' Christmas. $5 from Smashville. Just gonna throw this out there. PS5s are showing up on store shelves. PlayStation Direct will probably have them sometime this week. Hey, if you guys are trying to get PS5s, they ramped up production. Grab one. Spider-Man Remastered and Spider-Man Miles Morales run 100? I've not heard that. Okay, I think you guys are going to have to refresh. I had to switch ingest servers. I had to switch ingest servers. I don't know what happened. That was we bottomed out on bitrate and it didn't come back. And it's not my internet. I just switched ingest servers and it fixed it. There will be a second blip. No cause for alarm. There will be a second blip, all right? There will be a second blip. Just refresh. We are good. Let people know, just refresh. It was, I don't know what happened. I was on the backup ingest servers instead of the main because the main ingest servers always do some kind of a funky reset in the afternoon. So I didn't want to use those ingest servers. I started using the backup, and apparently the backup ingest servers just crapped. So, do me a favor, guys. Those blips always hurt us on the view count, and then YouTube will punish us and say, "Oh, people are leaving." Please smash the like button. Give us 400 likes. Maybe give some members. Maybe do some members. Did I thank Victor for his membership? Victor with 19 months of membership. That's my man. Another great day. Keep up the amazing coverage, Lono. You're always my work day radio. Now back to my work and lurk. Thank you, Victor. Oh, both Spider-Mans and Uncharted have 120 modes? I didn't know that. I think I just booted up Spider-Man and just ran the 60 mode. I didn't run the 120 mode. Huh. Okay, so yeah, there's your answer. Now, keep in mind, that's kind of similar to what I said about Xbox FPS boost, right? Xbox FPS boost does something similar. You're taking an old game and you're boosting its performance, right? So, you know, I mean, the question is a valid question, but it also points to what Modern Warfare 2 just achieved. It points to what God of War Ragnarok just achieved. They are giving you 120 on these consoles. You know what I'm saying? That's what they're giving you. So they're giving you something that this narrative that people are running with is just demolished by. I just question it sitting there and maintaining it for 5 or 8 hours for solid gaming. But what? The Pro is pushing last games to around 45 to 50. I do think the PS5 will be able to hit 120 at 1080. Probably pretty consistently, yeah. The more games that do it, you'll see more. You're going to see more games try to do that. Try to hit the 120 if they can. It didn't have a 120 mode at launch. It was added with VRR. Yeah, I don't think 120 is needed either. New angle. Yeah, we got a new camera. It's the second camera. I'm going to use it for the Lego recordings. I think we have a name for the channel. My daughter helped me name it. So So hopefully that blip, man, it's so annoying. That is so freaking annoying. Could we get 400 likes? Let's get some super chats, some gifted members, something. That is so aggravating. We were doing so well in the first hour, and then that blip just absolutely crushed the momentum. Wheezy says 120, 1080 ain't bad for a multiplayer FPS. Well, for sure, for people that really, really want to squeeze as much as they possibly can out of a game. Let's go, Lono Lego. No, you can't use Lego in the name of the channel. Lego will come after you. Everything under their umbrella is basically trademark. So we've done extensive research into what we could potentially call it. So we appreciate you guys supporting it and gifting Legos. That wish list has still got stuff on it, and everybody's been just super awesome. Performance. PS5 120. Are you serious? What a joke. What's the joke, Colin? What are you responding to? People really don't understand hardware and why last gen was dominated by 30 FPS. Those consoles were so CPU bottlenecked. Yeah, they were. And I think that's what people completely forget. If those consoles had just slightly better CPUs, we would have had 60 FPS much more. The Lego thing? Oh. Well, I mean, it's their brand. It's their trademarked brand. Do you really think about it like this, Colin? Do you really want somebody out there making content with your name, with your brand name in their name, potentially indirectly representing your brand? They don't want that. Do you know what I'm saying? It would look official if suddenly somebody came out and was like, yeah, Lono does Lego. You know what I mean? Here we go. We can bounce this viewership back. Here we go. 5 gifted memberships from Thad. Thank you, Thad. Guys, if you just got a gifted membership, consider paying it forward and doing another gifted as well. Colin Smith got one. Keenan Messina, Jedi Wicks, Joel Kirkwood, and Leonidas. I recognize most of those names is here all the time. Enjoy the membership for the next 30 days. You can enjoy members-only content. Thank you so much. $2 tip from Matasbo. Just saying happy Monday to everyone. Thank you, Matasbo. Thanks, always gifted by you. Awesome people. Yeah, some of y'all get taken care of every month. The more often you're here, the more likely you will get a gifted membership. So thank you for being here. How you send codes to wrong people? That's crazy. What are you talking about? From what I've heard on reviews, Thor is supposed to be catching up. It's supposed to be the toughest fight thus far. Yeah, we're trying not to talk about any of that. That had pretty good GPUs. Oh, the old consoles had pretty good GPUs, and that's why these games looked amazing. The CPUs held those systems up so much by dropping fidelity really wouldn't have mattered. This is one of the reasons why PlayStation devs have been begging. They were begging Sony, let us put our games on PC, man, because they knew if we could just go somewhere where the CPU's not bottlenecked. You know? I've definitely been gifted before, always appreciated. Thank you, Justin. Lono does Lego, can't hurt too much. Dallas seemed to do whatever. They have to go after people using the name, otherwise they risk losing the copyright due to it being common household name like Kleenex, Velcro. Yep. Just arrived. Did you see the leak? Yeah, we're not talking about it. Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection had 120 at launch at 1080, but it recently got the VRR patch, which looks like 1440, and it runs 100 to 110 with a few dips below 100. Really? I might have to play that in my living room. I feel like I could play that every night for a little while, and my wife would probably enjoy just, the story. So many games I don't really get to call, All right, Lono, I'm off to make my OnlyFans called... yeah, Murph. Yo, it's good, Blood King. There's a channel I follow, and he uses Lego on the video titles. Yeah, no, that's totally fine. You can use the brand name in the titles, because that's what you're covering. Like, I could literally do a video that's called, a review of the latest McDonald's cheeseburger, and I can put McDonald's in the title. But I can't name my channel McDonald's Burger Reviews. You can't do that. Because they're going to say, hey, you're not us. You can't use our name in your brand and in your title. It makes it look like you're affiliated with us, and we can't have that. So you can't, make a channel and be like, Lono does Lego. And then people are like, wait a minute. No, that you're not affiliated with Lego. The PS4 version, though, PS5 low resolution. Which game are you talking about? There's ways around it like everything else. Sure. Yo, Danzatastic's going to help us rebound from the blip with 10 gifted members. Make sure you're here. Make sure you guys have clicked allow gifts. You guys are so awesome. Saving those gifteds to help us rebound from blips. Air Drogmore, just in time, just said he gets taken care of every month, and there we go again. Rich Lacera, Wings of Elderly Abuse. Alex, We the People, Hattori, Super Real, Dark Age Gaming, and Zell. You guys all got gifted memberships. Make sure you're in the members-only Discord. Make sure you don't miss out on the members-only talk shows that we do every day. My wife and I played another spooky game on Friday night. This Friday night, we're aiming at doing the Star Wars watch party. I'm really worried that Call of Duty is going to demolish that plan and that no one's going to want to tune in because COD launches this weekend. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. We were planning on doing it this Friday night, but I'm worried COD's going to crush turnout and make it like just such an uneventful evening. Unless there's some South Park Redskins level loophole that happens. Huh? You make Lego Lono and you need to find another channel called Litigation Lono. Can you actually tell the difference between 60 and 120? According to some Google research, the human eye can only process visuals up to 60. You can tell the difference for sure. You can tell the difference for sure. Especially if you have like a really nice monitor and television that can do it. Is it launching with the 3-person raids? No. Modern Warfare 2 raids show up in December 14th. Yo, 5 gifted members from Terminal Stupidity. Which mode do you be playing? Ragnarok? I'll probably pick the one right under 120. Yo, Rayleigh Oof, Jesse, Electric Storm, Wes Hewitt, and GNS. You guys all got gifted members. Yeah, when it comes to God of War Ragnarok performance modes, I think I will pick the one that is dynamic upscaled 4K with a target of 60 FPS. If that one doesn't suit my fancy, then I might try the high frame rate mode, 4K with targeted 40, or the 120. I don't know. I'll probably not do the... I don't know, honestly. I don't know. I probably will just pick the one that targets 60 with dynamic 4K. I get headaches if I go under 80. Been playing games at 100 too long. Yeah, I can't go down to 30. Maybe something is wrong with my YouTube account, but receiving member gifts is not an option setting for me. Vikings fan, you might be a branded account. If you're a brand account, you cannot accept yet. They've not pushed out an update to allow that. I'm not quite sure why. They're rolling out handles, so you'll be able to use your Google account very soon. And then you'll be able to just change your username. Some people don't want to use their Gmail account because then they come into chat and it's like, oh yeah, my name's William Roberts, and everybody can see your full name. You'll be able to change that. Now, a lot of people to get around that created branded accounts, and then branded accounts can't receive gifts. So it's like, thanks. We encouraged everybody to switch to branded accounts so they could select their username, and now they can't. Some countries can't accept them either. Yeah, it could be a regional thing. 30 makes me feel nauseous. It's rough. It's real rough. It didn't bother me that bad in Plague Tale Requiem because it's like kind of like a slower, more cinematic game. But yeah, man, it's rough, bro. It's real rough. Performance over visuals for me. If they have a sweet spot in the middle, performance visuals good for me. Yeah, I that's generally how I look at it. Like, I want it to look pretty, but I don't want it dipping below 60. Watching Gotham on Friday was tough to watch. Yeah, that game, because you're moving around the city so much and flipping around the rooms and climbing buildings and stuff, it's so much more noticeable in that game. Yeah, for sure. Didn't buy Gotham Knights, and I don't want it after Arkham Games. I just can't do with the combat. Yeah, I don't want to turn this stream into that game. It's just a giant regression. You can see my thoughts. We've got a gameplay video if you want my thoughts on that game. I gave my thoughts at the end on Friday for about 20 minutes. I was pretty harsh. It's weird. I don't know how I ended up being a branded account. I haven't uploaded videos in many, many years. Maybe they converted you back in the day. It's very possible too. It's just a regional thing. I don't know where you are in the world. I mean, your region could be restricted, you know, or not restricted, but your region might not have it yet, right? Was anyone able to get the special edition for Ragnarok with Thor's hammer? I got the notification of mine's being shipped. I don't know if mine shipped yet. I can't remember where I ordered it. If I can upload videos on a branded account? No, JW. That's not the definition of a branded account. Just barfed at work. Happy Monday, everybody. Well, that's one way to get sent home early. Love the new camera angle. You guys like that? It's the exact same cam I have now, and I've got it over here, so you get to see more of the studio. Those sound dampening panels are on 3 of the 4 walls, and then I got some on the ceiling. And then I'm going to use that camera. It's another Sony a6000. I'm going to use that camera right above here, and I got a table for the Lego stuff. So mine shipped, just waiting. I can't even remember where I ordered mine. I can't remember. I didn't buy them on B-Day. Can't justify 250 pounds. Yeah. What's the camera? I need a new one. Sony a6000. I just hope God of War Ragnarok doesn't need 2018 save file for anything. I'd be so disappointed because I never uploaded the save file from my PS4 before getting a new one back in the day. Oh, yeah. I don't know if that's going to be a part of it or not, Wheeze. They've not said. Keenan, with a 2-month milestone, thanks to Gifted, says, thanks for the gifted subs. Y'all are awesome. Murph says, I wanted to get some Gunner glasses this weekend, but I couldn't remember what your code was. If you're still doing that, need another pair. It's not a code. I believe it's a link. Yeah, hang on. Let me get you the full link because that's gonna chop it off. And bam. We can probably do this too. Adcom glasses. Oh, hang on. Edit com glasses. There you go. Hair looks sexy today. Thank you. I've been liking it a little bit longer. And this time, I still have a ways to go before my next haircut. So it's gonna get pretty long. It's been more fun at this length. What have I missed? We've been discussing the God of War Ragnarok hands-on previews. We've been discussing whether or not they're hiding loading screens. Did the PS4 hold this game back? Comments on the combat are generally very positive. With respect to it feels familiar, but it's evolved, and seemingly as you level up the skill trees and invest in different builds, that's where a lot of the game's evolution's going to shine. Getting really close to Goku Super Saiyan hair. That's not the inspiration of it, but thanks. You see the number of people playing Persona 5 on Xbox Game Pass are extremely low. Microsoft must have paid a lot to get that, yet clearly Xbox fans are not JRPG fans. Yeah, you got to be careful, man. You got to be careful when your audience is primarily Western, you know? Any advice to a new YouTuber? Create as much content as you can and watch it and analyze it and always improve it, you know? And then watch a couple guide videos on how to title and tag so you know how to at least get potentially in a funnel of discovery. Let's say you're making videos about, you know, exterior lighting. You're really good at it, and you've got all these great ways of walking people through it. Well, figure out how you keyword that. You know, what are you going to type in your description? What's your title going to be? A lot of people just come to YouTube, and they don't have any idea about any of that stuff. I will probably do the dynamic resolution 60 FPS mode. If the high frame rate performance mode is just the basic performance mode unlocked to 120, then I will choose that. If I remember correctly, Ghost of Tsushima had super quick loading screens on PS4 and they patched it to slow it down. PS5, you don't even see them. They updated them on PS5 and they're gone. Biggest tip, don't try to passively promote your channel in other streams. I always think it's funny when it comes to live streaming when people have this take. It's extremely brain dead. But they'll say it's mostly luck. Now, I think that applies to some people. I think there are some people that got in early on the live streaming game, and they're about as entertaining as a fence post, but they got in early. So it doesn't matter that they're boring and uninteresting. They amassed a giant crowd who's loyal, and they're loyal to the person. They're not loyal to any entertainment factor. And most of these people plateau in their growth and their viewership, and they don't care because they're making tons of money. So I do think luck applies to a certain degree, but it still doesn't apply that much. Those people still worked really, really hard to get where they are. They put in the hours, they put in the work, they improved the tech, they improved everything, right? I just think it's funny when I see people say, like, it's like 90% luck. That's a really weird way to admit that you're bad at streaming, you know? It's like... all the people that are successfully streaming right now, it was all luck, guys. I had no idea. I grinded it out for 2 years, the last 2 years on YouTube. I had no idea it was 90% luck. I had no idea. You know, I thought innovation, hard work, skill, talent, creativity, market awareness, evolution, adaptability. I thought all those things mattered, but apparently it's just all luck. JW with a $10 tip through Super Chat. I've never pre-ordered a collection edition from Sony. I have my confirmation email, but I haven't gotten anything since. Should I be worried? I want my Mjolnir. I mean, I wouldn't be that spooked just yet, dude. It's still October, you know, October 24th. It's never luck, good timing, good POV, good changes, updates. It's never luck. I think luck helps with growth. Like, there's sometimes you can make a decision and you're like, well, hopefully this works out. And then a bunch of things line up and bolster that decision tenfold. But you still made the decision and took the risk and put in the work. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I think luck can sometimes put jet fuel in the tank. But you still built the plane. You still built the gas tank. You still got in and piloted the ship. Just because certain circumstances line up to increase, expedite, or foster growth. Ninja would be a good example of this, right? Like, Ninja was working hard for years and years and years and had a huge following already and had a lot of subs. And then everything that lined up with Fortnite was jet fuel in the tank. But that was still all built on his hard work and his dedication and his abilities, and you know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't just luck. Luck just put jet fuel in the tank. He still was building and flying the plane. You pre-ordered the God of War controller. I did as well. I don't know when we'll be getting those. Yeah, the God of War Ragnarok, you know, like collector's editions and stuff, I have no idea when those are going to be shipping. People are getting emails right now saying that theirs have shipped. Keep in mind, that doesn't mean you'll be able to, like, play the game early. You're going to get, like, a code. You'll put in the code. It'll download the game. Well, no, you won't be able to put in the code and download the game probably until November the 2nd. I believe that's the pre-install date. And the day after that, the God of War Ragnarok review embargo drops on November the 3rd. So, you're going to pre-order the DualSense Edge tomorrow? Oh, yeah. Did the pre-orders go live tomorrow, Narwaffle? Most Ninjanis don't realize how good he really is at games. Yeah, they don't understand where he comes from. Yo, what's good, Zubair? If it was only luck for Lono, given that he's a solid 4 out of 10 streamer with a giant forehead. That's right. It's all luck. You know what I'm saying? I've had to do this twice, by the way. I've had to grind and grow a streaming platform and channel twice. So tell me it's luck. I guess I got struck by lightning twice. That's right, Barrier. I know a couple of streamers that wrote off this guy in Fortnite. I'd call that luck. They're not that entertaining. I wouldn't call that luck. I would call that opportunism and hard work. Just because you drift off somebody you know doesn't mean that you're not being real smart and working hard to do it. What other real God of War lands on Earth? That's right. Washington posted a good comparison between the PS4 and the PS5 versions. Well, let's take a look at this blog. Let's take a look at this blog here and see what we can find in here. Let's see if we can get the text a little bit larger. Is that? Yeah, that's better. I can shrink myself. I don't need to be so like Sesame Street about it. There's no story spoilers in this blog, okay? So here we go. Mythical immersion on PS5, Winter Wonder. The world of Midgard sparkles on PS5 thanks to crisp 4K visuals and fluid frame rates. I played in performance mode. Fimbulwinter is creeping across the lands, including Kratos and Atreus' homestead. Snow crumbles and parts as characters... Snow crumbles and parts as characters trudge through it, with light catching tiny crystals on the surface. Frozen waterfalls stand like intricate, towering art pieces. The atmosphere of the snow-covered Midgard captures the serene vibe of a winter walk in the woods perfectly. Haptic immersion. Santa Monica Studio has taken full advantage of the DualSense wireless controller's haptics. One sequence involves dog sledding away from a violent avalanche. The DualSense controller's haptics thrummed in my hands, conveying both a deep rumble of rushing land and lighter clumps of snow trembling about. In combat, the Leviathan axe packs an extra visceral punch, and when the boomerang weapon is recalled, the haptics gradually swell until the axe lands in the hand with a meaty thud. The range of haptics also brings texture to subtle moments, like Kratos laying his weary body down on his cot to sleep. Okay, so that's some good descriptions of the haptics. Settling back in. I'll admit, it took me until the back half of God of War 2018 until I felt proficient with the new combat mechanics. The intimate camera position, ranged and melee Leviathan axe, and abundant combat options overwhelmed me a bit. In contrast, picking back up Kratos' axe and Blades of Chaos at the beginning of God of War Ragnarok filled me with confidence and a lust for battle. Wielding both weapons at the outset encouraged me to make more complete use of Kratos' arsenal, and it was a blast. A lot of people seem to indicate that the combat was familiar and that as they leveled and did certain things, it was evolving. Could we get 26 more likes on the vid? If you guys come here every day, make sure you go through that ritual. Death from above. Kratos can now take a sprinting leap off of a cliff and slam into enemies below. A furious intro to any group that stuns enemies. The new combat option is a potent example of God of War Ragnarok's increased focus on verticality in the environment. Stay frosty. The triangle button used for equipping and recalling the Leviathan axe can be pressed when held to apply Frost Awaken effect on your next melee attack. Pressing R1 during Frost Awaken executes Frozen Breach, a wide swing that applies frost to nearby enemies. Aiming while pressing R1 during Frost Awaken executes Frozen Spike, a quick throw of the Leviathan axe that creates a frost explosion on impact. Kratos' expanded range of elemental attacks injects refreshing new options into each encounter. So it sounds like, thank you, Pico. So it sounds like you're not just imbuing it with frost, you're imbuing it with frost, and while that's happening, you have a couple of options of swinging it wide, throwing it, and then, maybe just leaving it on there. Flaming Blades of Chaos. Similar to the Leviathan Axed Frost Awaken, you can mash the triangle button with the Blades of Chaos equipped to perform a Flame Whiplash. This charges Kratos' change implements with fire, great for melting enemies' icy defenses. More importantly, Kratos looks undeniably cool, spinning the blade's chain to stoke the flames. Huldra Homestead. Kratos and Atreus visit Brock and Sindri's shop and home to gear up. While there, I upgraded my Leviathan axe to level 2, boosting damage significantly and unlocking a new tier of skill tree abilities. Atreus was also outfitted with new armor. My favorite details is the inclusion of a chest containing lost loot where the Huldra brothers store any resources that players may have accidentally left lying on the battlefield. Oh, so now if you leave things out there like loot, you'll get it back at base. Mantis hitting a 2-month milestone says, "Sup, Lono." Customizing gear. Once again, you can customize your weapons and armor, including slottable gems for Kratos' Leviathan axe. After a battle with a ferocious stalker named the Huntress, I acquired a Winter's Bite, a light runic attack that forms a mass of ice around Kratos' axe, for extra damage. Another applies a flaming uppercut style attack to the Blades of Chaos. I found both moves handy as quick get out of jail free cards when surrounded by enemies. Just mind that cooldown timer. Shield of Choice. This is where the IGN review said that the game really started to feel expanded for them. Kratos' Guardian Shield is damaged during battle, and Brock offers to craft an additional defense while he works on repairs. Players can pick up from 2 new shields to start with. The Stonewall Shield, specializing in soaking up attacks and striking back, and the Dauntless Shield, which is all about high-risk, high-reward parries. Eventually, players can scrounge up enough resources to craft all shields. So it sounds like if you want all shields, it's going to be a bit of a commitment. We just need a handful more likes to hit 500. You guys are awesome today. Huge turnout. Great support for the channel. Dauntless Shield Test Drive. I opted for the Dauntless Shield, hoping that my experience mastering narrow parry windows in action games like Sekiro Shadows Die Twice may come in handy. It did! Well, hearing that is extremely exciting. A carefully timed tap of L1 against an incoming strike parries attacks and produces a flash of light, stunning foes for a generous length of time. I found this immensely helpful for crowd management and relished the incentive to better study enemy attack patterns. That right there is a fundamental change to God of War Ragnarok combat. The fact that you can basically turn it into a parrying game where you're constantly getting a stunning effect. That's great. Andrew Mandrew with a 5-month milestone. I'd love to use the old Hades hooks from God of War 3 in the new engine. If you guys are enjoying the content, let me know what you think in the chat about this game. Has it been held back? What do you think about the loading screen discussion? Make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you can chime in the chat. Look how much bigger Thor is than him. Holy frick. Threats in the realms. Thor Throwdown. If you love the bombastic Baldur encounter at the start of God of War 2018, look forward to clashing axe and hammer with Thor in a similarly spectacular battle. Thor unleashes a combo of grabs, lightning-infused Mjolnir blast, area of effect volleys, and more. The two gods grapple and fly through the air as the battle rages across multiple frozen landscapes. Thor's assault is non-stop, peppering in cutting insults against Kratos' parenting skills when he's not outright attacking. It's a memorable encounter that left me eager for a rematch against the God of Thunder. So, minor spoilers there. We don't fight him just once, which we knew that was going to be the case given he's going to be like Baldur. Similar screen. Apparently, he and Freya have similar screen time to Baldur. Raider Rumble. Hardy, violent raiders wander the wild woods, attacking Kratos because they know he's responsible for bringing on Fimbulwinter. These melee and ranged foes are easy fodder for sharpening your melee skills and satisfying test dummies to boot. Multiple, you can see here, these are guys that they're talking about. They're in the one article. In the realm of enemy variety, they said that there was significant enemy variety as far as they felt that they fought more in the first 5 hours of God of War Ragnarok gameplay. They felt that they had fought more variety in that 5-hour span than the entirety of God of War 2018, which that's pretty impressive. Bjorn Battle. Let's see here. Where's this? This is a really long one. A mighty bear attacks in one of the first boss battles. The burly animal begins with predictable swipes for Kratos to parry, but also introduces additional cues like yellow circles that indicate Kratos can block, but will still receive damage, and red circles indicating unblockable attacks. The bear's attack pattern is a ferocious yet forgiving on-ramp, hinting at tougher battles to come. So God of War combat is going to have a new... That's new. Isn't it? I remember red from the last game. Were there yellow that could be blocked but you still took damage? Was there like a mid-lane attack in God of War 2018? Because I don't remember that. I've not played it in quite a while. I was hoping to do a replay before this game came out. Yes? Oh, there were yellow ones. Oh, no. Yellow is new, believe. You can parry yellow, but not red. Huh. I don't remember yellow's still giving you damage. Yellow is not new. Okay. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention and I took damage. You know what I'm saying? It's possible. I'm bad about that. And like Sekiro and Elden Ring and Dark Souls games really changed how I play games. So back when I originally played this, I might not have even have known it. Drekky Brawl. Yo, Rissik's gifting 5 members to the community. Make sure you guys are clicking allow gifts if you see that prompt in chat. That way you can receive these. Raphael, DK Bager, Jose Ocho, Zach Walton, and Typhoon PhD. The more often you guys are here, the more likely you will be receiving a gifted membership. Drekky Brawl. One of my favorite fights from this slice of the game pits our duo against a Drekky, a crocodile-like dragon beast. The quadrupedal creature snaps with its massive maw, swipes with his scaly tail, and dishes out electrical attacks that force players to keep moving. Using the Dauntless Shield to parry a volley of attacks while dodging zaps feels natural and satisfying. A well-tuned fight that perfectly tests players' growing skill within tough but fair intensity. So this is another new fight. So we got a bear, and we got basically the big crocodile thing that we've seen from some of the trailers. Bifrost damage. Near the very end of the preview session, a new bloodthirsty enemy type emerges to protect something deep in a dwarven mine. The pale, tattooed Einarjar unleash fierce attacks to deal Bifrost damage to Kratos, represented by a purple section of the HP bar. Bifrost damage is harmless at first, but when these foes hit a second time, it detonates the affliction and slices a significant chunk off of your HP. Watch your back, dodge readily, and be ready to parry to survive weaponized Bifrost. So another new mechanic to add another difficulty layer to the game. That sounds pretty dope. That sounds like that could be very painful in a boss fight, right? That could be very, very painful in a boss fight. Realm Lockdown, exploring the realms. Odin has the realms cut off at the beginning of God of War Ragnarok, so Kratos is unable to use the Bifrost to travel. Thankfully, Brock and Sindri have reconfigured the Mystic Gateways as an alternate means of travel. There you go. Got a guy up on like a wall or a pillar there, just hanging out. Wintering in Svartalfheim. While Fimbulwinter has enveloped Midgard in cold and snow, it's had different effects on other realms. In Svartalfheim, for example, subterranean pressure has increased, pocketing the land with powerful geysers. Mimir, the wise talking head strapped to Kratos' belt, also mentions a potent odor has spread across the land. Puzzling platforming. Navigating the realms requires clever use of Kratos' implements. In one instance, I needed to move a pillar blocking the path. This required me to first toss the Leviathan axe to shatter a log, bracing the pillar down, then brandish the Blades of Chaos to wrangle the pillar from the path. Another example involves crafty use of the Leviathan axe's elemental properties to manipulate watery obstacles in the realm of Svartalfheim, but I'll leave that to you to discover. Let's see here. Sonic arrows. In the dwarven town of Nidavellir, Sindri equips Atreus' bow with a new sonic-powered string. This enhancement is attuned to blast apart objects pulsing a light blue-green around the environment, like passages leading to new areas and alcoves hiding chests filled with hack silver. Atreus' ability to destroy this glowing material injects a deeper layer of joint environmental puzzle solving and navigation for the pair. So, new ability, new bow, and then new things to solve and discover and find with Atreus' bow. Exploration and side quests. Fans who adore turning over every stone in the realm can rest assured that exploration is abundant and rewarded in this sequel. While adventuring through a charming yet uninviting dwarven town, Kratos and Atreus cross paths with a dwarf who has a history with Mimir. The dwarf mentions mining rigs that Mimir once championed have caused a mess in the lands. If players choose to pursue this favor, they can correct Mimir's past wrongs for a reward. Later, while navigating a canoe across a vast, brilliant blue lake, I spot pillars of black smoke billowing from these mines. I chose to forge ahead on the main quest path, but was assured when Atreus organically mentioned we could return to complete the favor later. So it's good to know you can always come back and do that kind of stuff. Like, that's something that I'm curious about. Like, if I play with you guys through the main story, will I be able to go and like easily do side quests on the weekend? You know what I mean? Dwarven Compass. Sindri bestows a beautiful gift upon Kratos, a compass that allows the track objectives on the map, then follow a compass at the top of the screen. Perfect for efficiently tracking objects like favors and other side quests. The opening hours of God of War Ragnarok are jam-packed with exciting story moments and top-notch combat encounters. These are just a few moments and details from the outset that have me so excited to dive deeper into combat, explore the realms, and learn what the fates have in store for our heroes. And then they have some cool screenshots. So there you go. There you go, man. Game can't come soon enough. I'm on my 11th playthrough. Oh, golly, that's a lot of playthroughs. Eric Williams did mention that no gear will be left behind. You can upgrade everything to endgame power. Oh, really? So any build that you grow fond of, you can bring with you. The director of Ragnarok said they pushed the PS4 to the limit. Well, unfortunately, a lot of people are going to interpret those comments as saying, see, you know, the game was held back. You know what I mean? A lot of people will look at it and conclude that that means that the game was basically held back by the PS4. Like, if you're targeting the minimum performance threshold of a game, you know, like, oh, well, we pushed the PS4 to the limit. Yeah, folks are going to run with that as an indicator that the PS4 held the game back. Gotham Knights was really held back by the 4090. That's so true, man. That's so true. That pesky 4090. It's just not strong enough, bro. It's just not strong enough, you know. A lot of airports and people's living rooms with those PS4s playing this game 2018 and my PS4 fans going crazy. I'd imagine, since there are some comments on issues with the S, there are some sort of held back. There is some sort of held back or adjusting by the PS4. Well, here's a quote I want to read to you guys on this subject. Let's add some commentary here. All right. So this is from GameSpot, and I think that this is one of those times where someone references another game and they don't understand that they've just sort of invalidated what they're claiming. Okay? This is from GameSpot. It might seem stupid to point out that this is a sequel that feels like an extension of its predecessor, but given the time between releases, there was a real chance there could have been drastic distinctions between the two. Okay, pause. We need to keep in mind, there's only 4 years between these games, and there was the very strong likelihood it was only going to be about 3 years between them, okay? Had there not been a back injury for one of the voice actors and timelines would have stayed intact, there was only going to be roughly 3 to 3.5 years between God of War 2018 and this game. So this article is being written in 2022, 4 years after the last game. Show me how many games are cranking out sequels of this caliber within 4 years. Hurry, quick, show me, because there's almost none. Let's continue. It happens a lot for various reasons, and you only have to look at the disparities between The Last of Us and The Last of Us Part 2 to see the impact that can have. Yeah, and do you want to know how many years were between The Last of Us 1 and The Last of Us 2? 7. Almost double the development window. So you're referencing a game that has double the development window to be like, yeah, man, given the amount of time between God of War 2018 and God of War Ragnarok, you really think I really thought there'd be more definitive differences. I didn't think that. A 3 to 4 year development cycle? Why would you expect that? In what universe are you playing a game sequel within 3 to 4 years of it coming out and it blowing the doors off your new console? Where have you done that? What game have you played that did that level of a jump? Because if you go back and look at the jumps between consoles, the games that went the highest, the games that really went crazy and made huge differences in graphical fidelity, they weren't arriving 3 to 4 years later. They were arriving 6 to 7 years later. Because when you double the development window, you can do all those things. I mean, how much difference is a DLC going to have, right? 4 years in delayed development for multiple reasons. Right. The definitive differences will be the sense of scale and size of the enemies that you will face, not to mention the variety. Last of Us 2 is basically a PS4 swan song. Right. It was at the very end of the PS4 too. It was at the very end of that cycle of that platform. It's just you can't compare the two. It definitely is held back. I mean, you're not utilizing the SSD loading time, which means you need to create bottlenecks to load levels. That's false. That's been shut down. Both a developer from Naughty Dog and somebody that worked on Ragnarok shut that down. It's an artistic decision to do a single-shot game, and that's why there's no loading screens. So they didn't create bottlenecks to load levels. That simply isn't true. That's already been commented on by a guy from Naughty Dog. He's like, we don't do this to hide loading screens. Now, in essence, it frees a company up from doing loading screens, but that's not the reason that they do it. Right? New camera view, I miss a lot. No, today's the first day we're featuring the new camera view. So I have a second camera over here now to automatically shift things just to give the stream that neat feel of, everything's always kind of changing. And this is it's another Sony a6000. So I'm going to use that camera up there. I'm going to use it for the Lego channel. I've got a rig in the ceiling for it. That's why God of War film won't be any good. You need a series to have the moments in God of War like the loading screens you're talking about. If there's any Ragnarok leaks, do you think Sony should do something about it? They'll probably try to shut down anybody talking about it or showcasing it. Yeah, that stuff's locked under NDA, and it's a protected piece of property. Reforge has loading screens for his commentary. I'm not talking about the one shot. I'm talking about when Kratos and Atreus are crawling in through a tunnel. Yeah, Rich, I know exactly what you're talking about. And that's been shut down by actual developers, not armchair developers writing blogs on the internet. A 5 gifted member bomb from Dodevas, Josh McGill, Enzul, Grim Reap Show, JC, and Cody Ditmar. Like, it's an artistic decision to go with single shot, okay? So somebody from Naughty Dog was like, when we make you crawl through a rock wall or show you a door being opened, that's not just hiding a loading screen. It's an artistic decision to give you a seamless experience. And that means they spent time developing that thing. You're looking at it the wrong way. You're like, oh, they have to do that because of loading screens. No, they developed that mechanism to maintain the single shot game experience. One benefit of it is, yeah, there's no loading screens, but you're looking at it backwards. And somebody who worked on God of War Ragnarok literally said, if somebody calls crawling through a crack in a wall, a crack in the wall, a loading screen one more time, she was basically like, that's not what it is. It's, you do get the benefit of like, oh yeah, we don't have to do loading screens, but that's kind of a no-brainer. The no-brainer is, hey, let's do a single shot game experience so it's just one camera shot the whole time. Oh, cool. Well, what's one of the benefits of that? Well, one of the benefits of that is there's no loading screens. Okay, cool. Great. And what they do then to achieve that is, yeah, they funnel you through a crack in a wall or a hallway or a door. The slow walk through a tight space was originally used to hide loading screens to keep immersion. They also did it for elevator rides. It's not needed as much today. Right, but it is needed, Techno, if your decision artistically is to do single one shot. You have to do it. It's I think people are looking through the wrong end of the telescope. They're like, yeah, this game was held back. They gotta hide loading screens. What? That's not true. And number two, that's not an indicator of a game's quality. So the game developer took a bunch of extra time to create a seamless experience in one camera shot throughout the entire game, and you benefit from that by never seeing a loading screen, and you're trying to flip that into a negative? I'm really gonna blow your mind. Are you ready? You ready for this? There's gonna be next gen only games that do this because it's helpful to the experience. Even with as good as the SSD is and the data controller and the PS5 is, I guarantee you there's games that are still going to do this because it makes for an immersive experience when you're not switching to any other screen or cinematic or anything. You're just going seamlessly from one area to the next. Like, that's the other thing. It's like, you're presuming that the minute we leave behind the PS4, no game's ever going to do this again in the future. And it's like, why? What do you mean? There'll be plenty of games that want to do this in the future because it's an immersive artistic choice. I believe One Shot's amazing. I'm not hating on it at all. I actually enjoy the banter between Kratos and Atreus during the tunnels. Right. And Rich, the only reason I was pushing back on what you said is people try to use that to say, oh yeah, the game's been held back. Yeah, game's clearly been held back. They got to hide loading screens with their tunnels and wall cracks. I believe story matters more as well. In order to do this crossover well, and they will unlike Cyberpunk, you have to start with PS4 and then PS5 when it comes to development. So PS5 had to be effective. That hindered by the PS5, right? No, I see what logic flip you're trying to do there. I don't agree with that. I don't. I think that I don't know why you're spamming that, Druvbat. When your chat message is in chat 4 times in one window, you're not gonna last very long. People are gonna get annoyed. Say it once, and I'll probably read it. I'm pretty interactive. So I guess my point would be there's less of those shots in the game if they utilize the SSD. There's no way to know that, Rich. Let's look at it another way. I didn't complete Plague Tale, no. Let's look at it another way, Rich. Let's imagine that Wolverine ends up looking a lot like God of War Ragnarok in style and execution. Over-the-shoulder, lumbering, tough guy. I think that's probably a fair guess, okay? Probably a fair guess. Okay, I'm going to time you out. You're too stupid to understand. Basic chat decorum. All right. So let's say Wolverine ends up looking very similar to God of War Ragnarok. And let's also presume that now that we're leaving behind the PS4, they're going to push the game as far as they can. Do you want to know what ends up happening when you do that? You have to get creative about just how much you render, just how much you show, just how much you load in. There are games that poorly optimize themselves. They load in too many assets or too many things at once, and then the game runs like garbage. So you could still have games doing this that are PS5 only. Wolverine could say, Insomniac could say, listen, the data controller and the SSD are fantastic, and they're really helping with seamless transitions, but we're still going to have to sometimes funnel Wolverine through a hallway or a door to give the game time to load all of this stuff, because he's coming from another very, very dense, highly rendered area. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like, if they push these games as far as they can actually go on the PS5, they still might end up saying it's more immersive to do the tunnel walk, door walk, crack crawl, like to allow the game to do everything it needs to do before you get into the next area. even if it's next gen only. Using the SSD doesn't mean just using the SSD to eliminate loading screens. It's also loading assets, textures, and models. It's also streaming assets to the open world games. Yeah. The idea that seamless immersive experience, including like climbing through a wall crack or a door or a hallway, if you think that's going away once we leave behind the PS4, I've got news for you. I don't think it's going away because I think it's an artistic decision, and I also think the further they push these games graphically, it'll probably still be a necessity in certain games. It'll still be a necessity because if they push things super, super far, graphically speaking, there will then be limitations on how many things can be rendered at once, how many things are rendered and drawn in front of you, behind you, within the cone of where you can look. All of those things will make some companies say, yeah, we're going to do the seamless one-shot transition through these areas. You got to funnel the guy through a hallway, tunnel, or a door. Can't be serious with Stray, best indie game of the year. I think Stray will probably win indie game. I also think Stray will get a nomination for game of the year as an honorable mention. I don't think it wins game of the year, though. 1,000% people are upset are the ones coping with their crappy Gotham Knights purchase. Yo, San, I had so many people on my shorts about that game. They're either saying, this man tried to warn us and we didn't listen, or they're saying, shut up, it looks fantastic. It's equal to, you know, some of the best looking games. It's like one or the other. It's like one or the other. Well, let me just take a gander at the Steam scores. You know what I'm saying? It's unbelievable. I just keep telling people that. I'm like, go look at the Steam scores and shut up. You really think a game with a 67% on Steam is amazing? Techno coming in. Enjoy the badge and emotes. Welcome back, Techno. In my opinion, the wall crack walkthrough breaks immersion for me because I know exactly what the game is doing. All in all, it's way better than a static loading screen. You're always going to have moments, Preacher, where you remember you're playing a video game. It's always going to happen. There's going to be times where it happens. And AI does something goofy, something clips through a wall, some bush jitters, right? Like some tree shakes or like a shadow does something funky or somebody's eyes does something weird. You're always going to have that momentary, oh yeah, there's a reminder that I'm playing a video game. You're going to have that. You're always going to have that. I don't think that's somehow like a problem. Let's end the debate here. It is not an Arkham game and it wasn't trying to be an RPG set in the Arkham world. Yeah, you don't have to convince me of that. It's a mobile game ported to console and PC terribly. Do you want to know why that game runs so poorly? Why it's optimized so bad? And why the controls feel bad? Because it started out as a mobile game, and one day I'll be proven right. I am so confident. I'm so confident that I'd put money on the table. Yeah, I didn't get a chance to check it out. Corey says, use the SSD does not equal next generation. The PS5 internal SSD is another tool that will be used when appropriate. People trying to justify next gen by ham-fisting this one feature. Enzul, you got to speak in English only, please. No one knows what you're saying. If Ragnarok came 1 or 2 months earlier, it definitely will have a much higher chance to win Game of the Year. No, I don't think so. Do you want to know why, Universe? The press has the game right now. Their review embargo drops on November the 3rd. The press is literally getting 3 weeks to play the game. The press got their hands on the game last week. I'm sorry, 2 weeks. The press has been given 2 full weeks to play the game. It's going to dominate the Game Awards. You see that Sony teased the zoomed in photo? Yeah, then they deleted it. They deleted that photo. New camera angle looking good. Thank you. You think Evil West can get nominated for Game of the Year? Probably pretty unlikely. It'll probably get nominated, but not for Game of the Year. How do you get a review copy? A God of War Ragnarok review copy? You got to be pretty big. I think this time next year, we'll be getting review copies of games. Our growth patterns are pretty much indicative of a channel that will get that treatment next year. We're just underneath the bar right now. Like, if we had 25,000 subs, we might have been able to get one. We're just not quite big enough. Typically, you got to be in the 50K range to get that kind of treatment. 25, they might look at our viewer averages and our daily viewership and weekly viewership, and they might have said, "Oh, give that guy a code." But generally speaking, you got to be a pretty sizable channel to get that kind of early access, or you got to know somebody. So, this is what matters. It'll be much more brutal and violent than its predecessor, says Eugene. In an interview, the combat designer has confirmed that it'll be more brutal and more violent. Oh, Evil West won't even be competing for Game of the Year. It'll be competing next year. It'll get bumped to next year. It's too late in November. What I'm interested in is when new techniques developers will implement with the newer technology in the next-gen consoles that make games feel distinctly different than the previous consoles. Like what? Like what do you... I'm not sure what you mean. Because I believe that Returnal and Ratchet show some of that off already. I mean, even Ghost of Tsushima got an update that shows some of that off. What specifically are you looking for? Like, no load times at all. Seamlessly loading into brand new areas and jumping from like a rift in a world that opens up to another world, and it doesn't have to load that. I'm curious what you're specifically looking for. Like Modern Warfare 2 lets you play at 120. Like, games are letting you play at 4K. Like what do you feel you're missing out on right now? Is there something specific that's been listed that you haven't seen yet? They're saying they don't speak English and they're in Indonesia. They said they like the show. Oh, well, they got gifted a member, so they can stick around, but it's always disruptive to have other languages in chat because nobody knows if you're saying something nice or something horrible. I've been playing the old God of War games, and the combat's actually more brutal than God of War 2018, limitations aside. So I'm happy to hear that. Until PC devs start demanding SSDs as a min spec, we're a long way from the stuff that you want. That is true. The way that games are developed for PC are going to have a role also. What do you think recent games are lacking that limit them from completely going realistic? I actually don't know, because I thought Modern Warfare 2 looked very realistic. I thought there were segments of Modern Warfare 2 that looked phenomenal. I mean, it looked real. Have you seen the comparisons of this Amsterdam section to the real place, the real location? It's unbelievable. Did I get a quick recap? The God of War Ragnarok hands-on previews are showing that the game is familiar. Combat feels great. It's evolved once you start to invest in different builds and skills and abilities. Enemy variety has been dramatically increased. And then we learned that the graphical performance options are proving that the game's an uptick significantly from the last game. I love when people act like games at 120, games with ray tracing, games with no load screens, games with lots of environmental details aren't next-gen enough. I put Modern Warfare 2 on my NVMe, and it loads the main missions in less than 5 seconds. That's crazy. Rich says, to go back to the conversation with the tunnels, there may be that there's a way to eliminate the need for them entirely. Also, I agree, Returnal and Ratchet felt very next-gen. Okay. Yeah, I mean, so Corey, to his point, Rich is acknowledging that some of the next-gen games do feel next-gen. So, let me argue for Rich, since he only has 200 characters, and I'm gonna step into what Rich is saying, and I'm gonna say, listen, guys, listen. We've only seen a glimpse of what they can do with instantaneous load times and the data controller and the SSD, right? What they did in Ratchet, dope. What they did in Returnal, awesome. What else could they come up with? Have they really tapped in to creativity and innovation within this? Because right now, it's very much, it's faster. Now, Ratchet touched on it. jumping in and out of places with nothing, no load time. Imagine if that's just the tip of the iceberg of possibilities. What if beneath the water, there's so many more things they could do harnessing that technology? I think that's what Rich is saying. He's not saying, oh, we haven't really seen any next-gen games yet. He's saying, listen, what more can they do with this tech? We haven't really seen it all yet. The cracks, the doors, the tunnels, they're not going away. You still need ways to separate environments from each other. You need transition sequences no matter what. Yeah, Ratchet had levels. Sure. So Rich doesn't sound to me like a naysayer or a negative Nancy. Rich is almost saying, okay, we've seen some cool stuff. What more could we see? What more could they do? I think that's fair. There could be a whole lot more coming. There could be way, way more things that they just haven't tried yet. Yo, Radish Smuggler gifting 5 members. Angel, Amanda Williams, Parkour, Jerry Main, and Zach Fight. You guys all got gifted members. Be sure to say thank you to Radish Smuggler. Also, if you can afford it, anytime you get gifted a member, pay it forward and do another batch. Like if you're like, oh, hey, I was going to do my own membership, well, pay it forward and gift another batch. The more often you guys are here, the more likely you'll get gifted a member. So if you can't afford it, just watch my content as often as you can. Listen, if you're subscribed to my channel and I'm ever not on your homepage, always check your subscriber feed. On mobile, it's like a button at the bottom. On desktop, it's a button on the left. Always be sure to check that to ensure, because we are a very regular, very consistent live show every single day. So make sure you're always checking your sub feed. Sometimes we're not on your homepage. Narwaffle with 6-month milestone as a member. Thanks for jumping back in. That sounds dirty. Radish Smuggler. What if they just really like to steal radishes from gardens? What's the matter with all of you? Mind in the gutter. You'll never define next gen because your opponent will always say they don't see it that way. Are you talking to me, Captain? What do you mean? You mean I will never define next gen? I have no problem defining next gen. I commonly define it within the framework of how the companies defined it when they marketed the next gen consoles. Ratchet had levels. You had to load those levels by flying to them. Now once the level was loaded, it did all that stuff. Kind of like crawling through a crack to load the next area. Yeah, Ratchet did really cool stuff, but you still had to fly to the planets. That's exactly right. All the planets weren't just seamlessly there all the time. Always try to check with the channel. Love the show. Thank you, Daniel. In my opinion, Ghost of Tsushima should have won Game of the Year. I agree with you. Street Fighter 6 is one of those games on PS5 and PS4, but only on the series consoles. I'm not sure what you're pointing to. Next gen should be more than features. What's that mean? What does that sentence mean? You need to qualify what you're saying. Next gen should be more than just features. Okay. Should it be spiritual, existential? Like what do you mean? How do you deliver next gen and be like, but it can't just be features? Huh? I'm definitely not negative about it, says Rich. I love this stuff. I'm just interested in speculating about what's the next thing that will blow our minds. No, see, I caught what you were doing, Rich. I've done this a long time, and that's why I was able to be like, I know what Rich is saying, and I took your position and kind of spelled it out for people. Next gen games need to improve on AI. How is that not a feature, though? How is that not a feature? Yeah, we made our AI way better. Oh, that's a feature. FPS, ray tracing, 4K. Yeah, those are features. Well, I don't know what you're saying, TJ. I think he means more than 60 FPS. Look, nobody is asking for just 60 FPS. And we're like, that's next gen, thanks, bye. Like, no one's saying that. I think he means spec. That's not what I meant. That's why I wanted you to elaborate, TJ. I'm like, okay, that's an interesting statement. What's beneath that statement? So I'm giving you that opportunity. Like, you know, spell it out. Spell it out for us. I mean, I want next-gen games to be defined by more than just performance. Okay. You've just restated your position a different way. I need it fleshed out. What's beneath that, right? You just moved the camera to a different angle. I need to know what's underneath the position. So it can't just be performance. So 4K 60 FPS ray tracing isn't good enough. What's this intangible, unspoken thing you're looking for? New features, new standards, that's the hallmarks of a new generation. I'm asking for 1080 60 with SSD load times. Let me ask you, would you play an RPG where it utilizes voice recognition tech and the AI respond to you in kind? Oh yeah. I think there's going to be games with voice recognition for sure, because the microphone on this, it's built right in. It wouldn't surprise me at all if we see that this generation. Voice activation. I'm honestly not sure yet. It just doesn't feel next gen enough to me for some reason. I think he wants a transformative or novel experience, something not seen before, not just better versions of old things. You know, and Zubair, I think that is what he's saying, and I think that's a fair summary. I think TJ will agree with Zubair's summary. I both understand it, but I also caution against this type of thinking. Let me explain why. Gucci says, I always listen to you on Spotify at work. It gets me through the day. I truly appreciate your content. You save so many lives unknowingly with just being you. Thank you, Reforge. Well, I don't know how I save lives, but if I'm keeping you on a positive track, then good. But you feel that it's that serious, and, you know, always talk to somebody professionally, you know. I'm glad my content can help you through the day, though. Here's why I'm going to caution against what he's saying. He's agreeing with Zubair's summary. So the statement that I want something transformative or novel, something I've never seen before. I don't want something I don't want just a better version of old things. So here's the layer that I sympathize with and understand with and agree with. At this layer, I say, yep, I agree. If you're just going to give me another shooter, another RPG, another action-adventure game, and it's just prettier, that's not good enough. I think I can agree with that. I can. Here's why it's dangerous. Okay? Here's why it's dangerous. There is, I think, baked within that idea, and I run into this a lot in this line of work, there's this presumption, there's almost a faith and a belief that technology and video games will never hit a wall or a ceiling. It's inexhaustible innovation. It's almost eternal in your mind. And if that doesn't have if we don't have a measurable, tangible trajectory of growth from where we previously were, then there's dissatisfaction. And I caution against that line of thinking, because I worry it's rooted in something that's more faith-based, which sounds weird to say about video games, but that feels more faith-based than evidence-based. It's like, well, wait a minute. What evidence do we have that they can keep doing this every time they launch a video game? Yo, a brand new member, Vet. Enjoy the dope badge and emotes. You're dope and deserve dope stuff. Thank you so much for jumping in as a member, all on your own. We've got 37 new members today, guys. Thanks so much. We'd love to see about 100 new members a day, either through gifted or your own. If you've never done a membership on YouTube, it's only $5, and the whole month you get access to a badge and emotes, a members-only Discord. We do members-only talk show at the end of every day. Imagine a game with something like Siri that can take voice commands. It'd be hilarious to watch and infuriating to play. The thing they'd have to do is do it. They would need to achieve it without bandwidth hogging. That'd be the worry. The worry would be that the ability for you to say something and the game to immediately call it and do it, that's so much stuff. The bandwidth to do that would be insane. So it would almost have to be something that's not seamless or limited. Returnal created a new genre of games, a game that had never been seen before. How is that not novel? I don't think you understand what novel means, says Eugene. Games have done voice commands before. It's not new, and it's really not fun also. It depends on how they do it, Paul. Depends on how they do it. You can always reinvent the wheel. Sometimes you just have to be okay with better wheels. Vintage Lono back on the bandwidth combo. That's right. Ratchet did it on PS5, but God of War did it in 2018. Have you tried the endless mode in Returnal? I have tried the Returnal Tower of Sisyphus. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I wish you could play it co-op. I do. I think cost of the consumer is a huge factor, says Rob. More technology could be there, but simply costs too much to be practical. Can there be new stories, or have we heard every story already? We always have games that were inspired by other games, so I think if something entirely new comes in with completely different concepts, but that is just too much to ask. I was just going to say that. I wish it was co-op. Yeah, I wish Returnal Tower of Sisyphus was co-op. You think Thor's Hammer will be playable? For example, in New Game Plus? Here's the thing. If Thor is meant to be in God of War Ragnarok as often as Baldur, I don't know at what point we could get Mjolnir that would not feel dumb. Let's say we get it halfway through the game. Well, the only way that works is if this version of Thor is still the God of Thunder and still has powers and strength without Mjolnir, which I believe he probably does. So I guess that's not dumb. And I guess the timing there would be a hinge turn for the game. Halfway through the game, you get Mjolnir. That's been predicted. The ability in God of War Ragnarok to just hit triangle to infuse your thing with powers lines up, right? You got ice, you got fire, and then you got lightning, right? Yo, McDiesel gifts a member, and it goes to Gucci Gaming, who came in and had a very kind thing to say about listening on Spotify. Thank you for doing that, McDiesel. Love to see it. That takes us to 38 new members of the day. So to me, it's like, if we get it about halfway through the game, it makes sense. If they wait for you to beat Thor to give you Mjolnir, I think that'll feel kind of dumb. You know, like, it needs its own skill tree. It needs its own abilities, lightning-based. There could be puzzles that are lightning-based, like maybe you have to power things up with what amounts to electricity. Norse Thor does not need his hammer to be God of Thunder. Yeah. Brock and Sindri could make a hammer like Thor's. I feel like we're going to get Mjolnir. I do. Do we even beat or kill Thor? I think we do. I think we kill Thor near the end of the game, and then we have to fight Odin. I think Odin is the true final boss of the game. Yo, Vet didn't just jump in as a brand new member. Vet's gifting a member as well, and it goes to the universe. That's a heck of a gifted membership. That takes us to 39. No, isn't that 40? 39? 40 new members? Very, very close to the halfway mark. Always good to see about 100 new members a day. Getting people in here. Getting committed. Getting our Discord. Kill Thor. Yeah, I think we kill him. I think we kill him and it calls out Odin. Because I think Odin shows up. We already see him show up at one point. I think he's trying to dissuade you. He's trying to prevent Ragnarok. He doesn't want Asgard to be destroyed. And he's trying to stop you through words. He's very much like, let's avoid war, let's avoid conflict. And I think he will only fight you once you kill Thor. The universe is here. I got beef with the universe. The universe has been effing me over for 45 years. Probably won't fight Odin, of course. The impending doom of Ragnarok is going to kill the rest off. I don't think Kratos will kill Thor. I think Jormungandr will kill Thor. I played the first 7 missions in the Modern Warfare 2 campaign. I can't wait to finish it. Love the ghillie suit mission. Yeah, I'll be jumping back in today. I'll be jumping back in today for our second show. That'll be in about 45 minutes. Longtime viewer, says Vet, been watching since the purple platform. Glad to show support. I greatly appreciate it, man. A lot of people have been coming back around. A lot of people are finding us, and they're like, hey, man, I used to watch on the purple days. I appreciate the support. I appreciate the positivity. I appreciate the ability for us to continue to grow the member base here. That's very, very important to what we do. Sorry, I missed this. Hope all is well. My partnerships lead will be reaching out to discuss potential opportunities together. Well, speak of the devil. Speak of the devil. More partnership opportunities. I've got one coming tomorrow. You like my second cam? I got another one coming tomorrow, another partnership opportunity. This second cam is going to be used for the Lego channel, so thank you everybody who made that happen. My table's over here and ready to go. We're very excited. Isn't Surtur one that kills everyone in Ragnarok? Yeah, but the God of Fire, yeah. Right? That's who Surtur is. You fight Surtur in Hellblade. A freaking amazing fight. It's amazing. I think Odin actually wants Ragnarok. He's the one who let the wolves chase the sun. He's manipulating it on his own terms. What if it's a never-ending cycle, and that's the one way he escapes his death? Uchi says, me watching and listening to you interact with your supporters inspires me to keep going, keep following my dreams, have my own podcast one day. Hey, man, podcasting is huge. So put in the work, brother. Research it, study it. We've done our best to understand it and to try to grow our own, but obviously we primarily grow it and run it here. Growing on those other platforms, man, I think it can be done. It's just, you'd have to do some research into discoverability on platforms like Spotify, because I genuinely don't get it. I don't get it. We throw our stuff over there and hope for the best. There you go. Which those of you that were wanting me to cover more serious subjects, and we didn't get to do that for very long, my podcast with Andrew Schwab is launching on November the 5th. I know a lot of you have been waiting for that. If you want to support it, we are going to direct you to the Patreon. You just have to go to ceasefirepodcast.com. That is the name. ceasefirepodcast.com. And we appreciate everybody who jumps in and gives that podcast love before we even start launching episodes. So the first episode will hit on November the 5th. So remember the 5th of November. That is when it goes live. And I am currently scheduling gameplay. Okay, we're just going to have to ban this idiot. Behemoth with 21 months of membership. Welcome back, Behemoth. That's a long time. That's a nice milestone. Matt, also with a 21-month milestone. Welcome back in, Matt. And Matt's like, I'm not done. I'm not just going to renew. I'm going to gift 5 as well. Everybody loves to see a renewal coupled with a gifted. And let's see who ends up with these gifted memberships. Broham, Dave, Zay, Dion K, and Johnny Two Shoes. You guys just got gifted memberships. Make sure and say thank you to Matt. Everyone's saying Gotham Knights is a mobile game now. You said it first. Oh, yeah. Now all of a sudden everybody wants to say that. Yeah. Dave, what a silly name. Dave. You don't like it? It's just Dave all by itself, Zubair. Zubair's kidding around. He's obviously joking. Those of us that know Zubair know he's joking. He's like, why would you not have your full name? Just Dave. Will I be able to play through YouTube, or will I have to use Patreon? We will not have monetization unlocked on YouTube right away, Sorcerer. So initially, we'll need 1,000 subs and all the viewership on YouTube to unlock that. So eventually you will be able to do it. But starting out, you'll have to do through Patreon. Goodness gracious, with a brand new membership, taking us to 45 new members for the day. We're 5 away from 50. Who uses their real name, honestly, says Zubair. Thank you so much for all of the new members today. Guys, make sure, again, as a new member, you are getting inside of our members-only Discord. We do a members-only talk show every single day. I do streams on Friday night with my wife, and you don't want to miss out on those. Those are a blast. Once you become a new member, you can always go back and watch the previous episodes. They're hilarious. We played another scary game on Friday night, although it took a long time to get scary. Dante, the man in the mirror, says, these usernames are making me question my existence. Forgot to say, hi, Lono. Hope you and the fam are good. Yo, what's good, Hellfire? Thank you. Guys, make sure we're smashing that like button. I had some discussion questions. Let's do some of these, all right? We already did this one from the GameSpot quote, but let's do another one, all right? Now, lots of the commentary from these God of War Ragnarok previews are saying that there is a lot of familiarity in the combat. Does this concern you at all? Why or why not? Is that par for the course, right? This is my last God of War Ragnarok titled video stream on social media. After this one, I'm blocking the terms God of War Ragnarok and God of War to avoid spoilers. Well, you'll probably miss some of my coverage leading up then, because I think there's more coming. I think there's more stuff coming. My real name is Bartholomew. That's such a good name. Such a strong name. Rich says, no, it's one of the best combat systems I've ever played. So Rich is saying, God of War Ragnarok combat, I'm not worried about it being familiar. It's some of the best combat. You're enjoying your time with GK. Don't mind having a guilty pleasure. I mean, I'm not trying to tell anybody not to enjoy it. I just try to steer people away from it. What difficulty is hardest? God of War Ragnarok difficulty will go all the way up to Give Me God of War. As far as we know, they're going to maintain that spectrum one more time. Can we just avoid story talk? Yeah, we're not really talking about story now. We're talking about the combat system. The previews are saying that the God of War Ragnarok gameplay, like the combat, feels familiar. 2018, 2022 God of War combat's the same. Definitely going to tune out closer to launch. I'm never going to do story streams, if that's what you're saying, Eugene. Yeah, I'm never going to boot up a stream to like, let's talk about the story. Because, yeah, that'll just invite it, you know. First Mandalorian Season 3 Legos tease major action scenes. Nice. Is there a difficulty trophy? Can you describe the combat in Sekiro terms? Sekiro. No, that's all I can say. No, okay, so this one review that we read, this preview. So there's a God of War Ragnarok preview on the Sony site, and the guy said that when he got the shield that rewards parrying, he was like, I really, really hoped my time in Sekiro would help me with that build. And he said that it did. He said that he felt like, yeah, it rewarded my Sekiro parry experience for sure. Yep. So you're not going to necessarily feel like you're playing Sekiro, but if you're like quick reflexes parry guy, you're probably going to have a great time with that build. Discussions in general. Yeah, I mean, I'll try not to foster it, you know. I'll do my best. Oh, I'm not signed in. Sony first party usually don't have difficulty-based trophies these days. How's the story? We're not talking story. They were very generic. The God of War Ragnarok previews were very generic. They didn't go into detail, and they said that it's great. They said that it's they're excited to continue. Magical Fat Guy with 14 months. Thanks for getting me through my days at work. Well, thank you for being here. Hello, says Polo Man with a Plan. Just rediscovered your channel from the other platform. Glad to see you again. Enjoying the content. Also, what's your Lego channel? Lego channel has not launched yet. I think my daughter helped me come up with the name that I like. I wanted the name of the channel to be inspired by my kiddos because that's where the love of Lego was refostered. It was, my son's birthday. I was discussing it with them. I was floating like names by them, and I think we have a name that we like. How can you interact to your environment? Last comment. I don't understand your question. What do you mean, how can you interact with your environment? You mean in the game? I don't know. I've not played it. I think the combat should feel similar, says Corey. Fimbulwinter is only 3 years, so it's just enough time to make a boy a young man and change the gameplay loop. Yeah, stink blocks. I can't wait to play with Legos again. My wife's 21 weeks pregnant with our first. Nice. Yeah, you guys are going to want to avoid, if you want to avoid spoilers, don't watch any of the videos that are floating around. Yo, Vet gifting another membership. Thank you so much for that, Vet. Jumping in for the first time today as a member, but been here a while. Snake Eyes gets the gifted member. Excuse me. That takes us to 46 members. We are now 4 members away from 50 new members today, and the new cam is rocking. Automation's beautiful. We will be using that new cam rigged in the ceiling for the Lego channel. Very excited. I got my table all set up over the weekend. I got my room set up for it. I don't have to do that much. I just kind of like drag the table over, put the camera on the ceiling rig, and then we're good to go. And I've got really cool things planned for that channel. Maybe my kids will be included every once in a while, I think a channel like yours should be looked at differently in terms of subscriber base, as Verbal. Because from my experience with you and Reforge Gaming, it's beyond obvious that the majority, you ran out of space. Like what I want to hear what you're saying, Verbal. I'm interested. It's beyond obvious that the majority of people subscribed and interacting on the regular embody what it means to be a serious gamer in every regard. Getting a review from you and this is a lengthy comment here. And the mountains of additional content covering the game would be worth its weight in gold to a developer, if you ask me. Well, I appreciate that. And our contribution to game design and game discussions of a previous game, it went to good things, I think. And I think we could maybe get to a place like that again with other games. It takes a special kind of game for me to invest in it to that degree, right? It does. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of investment and passion for me to get to that level. So maybe we'll be there one day with other games in a community and something like that. So I appreciate you saying that. I really, really do. I've always said with my content that it's all about value. How do I increase the value? How do I make how do we make it look more professional and do stuff like this and give it that feel of you're tuning into a professional podcast show? Like I'm in the studio, we're breaking it down, we're looking at articles, we're thinking of all the different vantage points and the ways that games should be covered and thought about from a design perspective. So the fact of the matter is, if you're sensing those value points and you're seeing those things in what we do, I appreciate that, and we hope that continues to met out and evolve into other types of content and other types of coverage for different games. So that's why I specified Sony first party. Of course, there are plenty of third-party games that put trophies behind difficulty levels. So guys, I would not worry about stuff like that. People are coming in and just saying random things. I've had 2 or 3 show up this morning, and they're contradicting each other. So they're more than likely just stabbing in the dark and trying to upset you. Just ignore it. I've been doing this a really, really long time, and something that I've noticed is what happens more often than not is they're fake, right? I've seen 3 this morning, and they're all claiming different things. So they're probably fake, so just ignore it. Only thing I can say is if Santa Monica was able to execute the same feeling you get fighting a From Software boss, the hype from finally winning, more cinematic feel, yeah, I'm excited about that as well. To be fair, people could think this is a spoiler kind of talk show. I mean, I don't think that's something that is fair to assume at all. God of War Ragnarok hands-on game previews don't ever come with spoilers. You know what I'm saying? If this is your first time ever consuming the runway to a game coming out, that's not commonplace. You don't go check out previews of a game and get spoilers. So no. If the name of the stream was something about that, then maybe you could say that, but I don't think that's a fair assumption. I think people are coming in and trying to be jerks. I think Gotham Knights is better. I think your bait is weak. Completely unrelated, but Terraria has just reached 1 million positive reviews on Steam, being the first game in Steam ever to do so. Really? If God of War Ragnarok is everything you think it will be, what are your thoughts on Game of the Year? For me, it's Elden Ring versus Ragnarok. Yeah, I think Ragnarok takes it from everything I've seen, but here's all the nominations. I think it's going to be God of War Ragnarok, Elden Ring, Horizon Forbidden West, Modern Warfare 2, and Stray. I think Stray gets an honorable mention. It'll win a ton of awards in the indie categories. I think Modern Warfare 2 is going to surprise people and take tons of awards. I also think it's going to be up there for Game of the Year. And then I think the other 3 are easy to guess. Like, it's totally easy to be like, well, the 3 frontrunners are Horizon Forbidden West, God of War Ragnarok, and Elden Ring. I think God of War Ragnarok kicks everything off the table. I want to say your streams make my morning. I always grab a hot coffee and just chill playing Elder Scrolls right now. Big ups. Thank you, Kaluth. If you're a coffee drinker, don't forget that we sell our own coffee. It's not a sponsor. Reforge Roast is available at reforgeroast.com. We have a light roast and a dark roast, and our holiday roast will be here very, very soon. We'll be able to take orders from that in November, probably. Like halfway through, I think. When is Modern Warfare 2 actually launched? This week. Stray, really? Yeah. I think Stray will get a nomination. Yeah. I think it's going to be like an honorable mention kind of thing because it kind of captivated the game world. We play God of War Ragnarok now. No, I'll play God of War Ragnarok gameplay when it releases on November the 9th. Yeah. That's when we'll be playing. Yep. Tell me you pay too much attention to social media, not sales charts, without telling me. What'd this guy say? Forbidden West flopped? No, it didn't. Be surprised if Saints Row Reboot gets Game of the Year. It won't even get a nomination. Like, Saints Row isn't even going to get nominated for anything as far as I can tell. But Horizon Forbidden West did not flop. It got great reviews, and it was commercially very successful. He was kidding. If you're interested in Modern Warfare 2, I would highly recommend buying it now so you can complete the campaign before launch. I would highly recommend the same thing. If Silksong releases this year, it'll give Stray some competition. I agree with that. Good morning, Liquid Smoke. How are you? I feel like Plague Tale will get Game of the Year nom. No, I don't think so. I don't think you should give Game of the Year to something that struggles to run at 30 FPS. I don't agree with that. Like, in this day and age, you should not be struggling to hit 30 FPS. And then when you are, you shouldn't get nominated for an award. You probably already know this, but it's relevant. Yeah, I've seen that, Ratchet. I'm going to need people to start using Kappa. I can't keep up with the memeing and the stupid separate. Silksong versus Sifu. Oh, yeah, Sifu will probably get some... Excuse me, I usually mute. Sorry. Not too shabby. Waiting for to live vicariously through you playing the Modern Warfare 2 campaign. Yeah. Very, very soon. Very soon. I'm excited. We're going to start with Mission 7. That's how far I am. I finished it, though, Lono. The story was awesome. 19 hours, great game. I understand, though. What? You finished what? Oh, Plague Tale. Is that what you're talking about, Doom? I think Plague Tale's beautiful. Plague Tale Requiem's beautiful, but it runs like hot garbage. Like, you shouldn't get nominated for an award when you run like an old gen, poorly optimized piece of trash. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't be nominated for anything when that's the case. Get out of here. I don't agree with that. I don't. I don't agree with that. That's the only sad part. Yeah, because it's otherwise, as far as I can tell, a great game, Doom. I didn't have any issues when I was playing through Plague Tale Requiem outside of performance. Like, it was totally terrible performance-wise. But I was like, this is a great game. Playing Tunic off stream. I actually haven't played it that much. I only played it like twice. I love it. I think it's great. It can get a little grindy because, like, I feel like it's really easy to take damage. I think the combat leaves a lot to be desired for. It's like, it's designed by one guy, and I feel like he should have hired a combat specialist because the combat flow is, sadly, I think, like, one of the worst parts about it. It ends up making you do a lot of runbacks because you just get too hurt. And it's very easy to get hurt. A lot of the cues and a lot of the damage setups are tough. And it has nothing to do with difficulty. It's just, it's set up in a way that you just take a lot of damage. I feel like we got a lot of really good indies this year. Tunic, Shredder's Revenge, Proteus. Is Shredder's Revenge considered an indie? I don't know if Shredder's Revenge is considered an indie. What studio did that? Can't wait for the Modern Warfare 2 campaign gameplay. Look forward to your reaction to the ending. Also, don't forget to not skip the credits because there's a cutscene. Okay, thank you. Excuse me. I swear, I trimmed this all up, and I still, like, something, I don't know if it's allergies or what, my nose will not stop itching today. It's so frustrating. It literally feels like usually it's mustache hairs, but that's not it. It's driving me nuts. My kiddos went through allergies and coughing and everything else, and I didn't get any of that. So maybe I'm getting itchy nose from allergies because the weather's like this right now. Hopefully they ditch skill-based matchmaking in multiplayer. Tired of dealing with it. I don't think they're going to ditch it at all. Skill-based matchmaking in Modern Warfare 2 was overtuned in the beta. Likely testing it. I like how we've been conditioned to watch the credits nowadays. I know. So if you're just tuning in, the God of War Ragnarok hands-on gameplay previews were pretty unanimous in talking about the combat feeling familiar but evolving with, if you invest in skills and different builds and the shields. Some of the previews, it sounded like they really didn't do much. They just sort of played around a bit, and they're like, yeah, it feels very similar to the last one. The guys that seemingly took their time to dive down in and to do stuff and to test stuff and to try different builds, they seem to have a much better time. They seemed to really sense the evolution of the game and the combat more. They did. With the original announcement of the game, I mean the remake, I keep hearing COD campaign might be the best in the series. Not being a COD player, I'm becoming more and more interested. I just want a new SOCOM. Listen, Rich, I don't throw around high praise easily, and the Modern Warfare 2 campaign is the best campaign I've ever played. It's the best shooter I've ever played. If you're even the remotest of fans of shooters, I think you have to play it. Especially if you can play it on a next-gen console. Came through later, got distracted, so now I got to rewind the show. Well, thanks for being here, Steven. We were looking at all the previews. One of the other things that consistently came out in the previews is that enemy variety has been increased. That was a common piece of feedback in the first... in God of War 2018. Was not enough variety in the enemies. Isn't Spec Ops going to be an MW2? It is. It is. As well as raids. So, you SOCOM guys might get some of what you're looking for. God of War 2018 is at 76. 58,000 positive reviews. Doesn't seem right. 76? Seems low. Well, I was trying to show off the abs and the new camera angle. New angle really dope. Stepping it up for sure. Thank you. Thank you. The new camera, Creature wanted me to do this for a really long time. Like this thing here, so we can have like more of an interactive studio feel. He's wanted me to do that for a really long time, and I always said no, I couldn't justify the purchase. Well, I had to justify the purchase because I can take that thing off its tripod, put it on the ceiling rig, and do the Lego channel vids. So, and I don't have to mess with my primary setup. And with the way I have the tripod set up, it's like I literally push the button, lift it, snap it, done. So, we got two birds with one stone with this camera. Anyone ever tell you that you look like Charlie Day? I get told I look like virtually every guy with a beard and short hair. And when I had a beard with long hair, I got told that I looked like virtually every actor, athlete, anybody who has a similar, you know, facial hair, glasses setup. I get told that I look like them. Yeah. So I think I've gotten Charlie Day before, but I've also, I've lost count. I've lost count of how many times I've gone to Google, typed in somebody's name, and like, yeah, I can kind of see it. Athlete, not that I'm athletic, but there was a wrestler, and then there was a soccer player, and I'm like, I'm 5'6", and I'm not athletic at all in my build, so... God of War has that for me. Yeah, a 96. Talk about a mistype. Oh, it's the 76th rank. I was like, a 76? That does not sound right. I was like, there's no way God of War has a 76 in Steam. It has a 96 in Steam, but it's 70. It's 76th place. Can't be 5'6". I am. Well, 5'6", tracks and toe ball. Yeah, I'm decent at soccer, but I would never be able to play professionally. But I can hold my own in a soccer game. If I committed, I could probably get much better at it. I just don't have time. Ever been told you look like David Arquette? I've actually not gotten that one. No, I've not gotten David Arquette. Because I know what he looks like, and I'm familiar with him. I've never gotten that one. I'm familiar with Charlie Day as well, but... Has anyone told you look like that guy that used to stream Destiny 2 on Purple? He had long hair. Otherwise, you could be his twin. Shut up, Nova. Yeah, Elden Ring's got a 90. That's impressive. Any Mexican friends that play soccer? I did when I was in college. I had a couple of guys from Mexico that would play. Right now, got some Korean friends that play and Irish friends that play. So, yeah, I'm definitely not as good as them. I am not as good as them. It's like, who's playing? Oh, you're an American? Okay, cool. Who else is playing? Anybody else except for maybe Canadians, right? Every other country, you're like, yeah, they're going to be better than us. They're going to be better than us, probably. Have you moved on? Oh, yeah, we don't touch that game. We don't touch anything from that company, Kratos. You remind me of that guy with a coffee empire. That's right. Oh, speaking of which, did we sell any coffee? I promoted it, and I forgot to check to see if anybody bought any Reforge roast. Let's see. No. And also, we're at 46 new members of the day. Let's get 4 new members today and try and hit 50 on the day. That would be incredible. You watching World Cup? I don't have time. I would love to watch the World Cup. When I worked at AT&T, I always got to watch the World Cup and the Euro because they had them on the TVs to promote their TV packaging. You know what I mean? But sadly, I don't have time. I do not. Now I'm picturing Lono sitting on a throne surrounded by coffee bags. That's right. Yeah, Ratchet, we don't... Oh, for the members stream, I don't even think the question command works anymore, and I've not seen it yet. Gustavo Lono, that's right, that's right. I'm in the Empire business. I explained the first offer was too low. The offer was 10 total. Remember, this is $45 million franchise. Then I wrote in Japanese to asking for what it was. Afraid of understand. He initially said 4K. Yeah. Yeah, now it's 15. Ask him to tape it on VHS for you. How do you think Kratos will play? Like, I hope we get some melee attacks. Yeah, none of the previews went into any details about whether or not you would get to play as him. But from what I've seen, there's a ton of new things he can do in the midst of combat. So, yeah. Demon's Souls 1 is the best looking game on PS5. Oh, it's one of the best looking. Yeah, I agree with that. It's an awesome looking game for sure. Philip says he has melee attacks. Well, he has melee attacks in the last game. That's not new. If he runs up to somebody and like jumps on them, stabs them, or attacks them, that's not new. Now they may have given him new melee attacks within that funnel, but he's not doing something that he didn't previously do. Does that make sense? I'm not trying to be like super picky, but yeah, that's actually not something new. So I'm gonna change the thumb on this. Please don't put stuff like that in the chat. We made it this far today without stuff like that. Callisto Protocol? Yeah, we'll be playing Callisto Protocol. Yeah. When it comes out, for sure. I was looking at Elden Ring reviews on Meta, and someone gave it a 4 for not being Horizon Forbidden West. You can't take reviews like that seriously. Like, it's not hard to find dumb reviews. You know what I'm saying? Just ignore them. It's easy to ignore them. You know what I mean? Guys, do me a favor, all right? Smash that like button. I bet you there's 40 people that haven't clicked like yet, and I bet you there's 4 people that could do a membership right now. 4 more members will put us at 50 members for the day, right? And 40 more likes will get us to 700 likes. That's a huge start to the week. I'm going to run upstairs super quick, okay? And this thing might happen while I'm gone. It might not. Now, I'm going to run upstairs really, really quickly, okay? And I'm going to come back down, and we got more show planned, more things to do and talk about. So don't go anywhere, all right? Smash the like button, get us to 50 new members, and I will be right back. All right, I'm back. Sorry. Let us get back in. Structure the whole room, mama. Thanks, babe. Step over there to the nutcracker. All right. Now, once you hit that second panel, you're in. Yeah, you gotta be careful with your little cute workout outfit on.
Stop ringing.
She's never done that. She's never done that. It would be so obvious because I'd be like, da-da-da-da. I would stop dead in my tracks. Like, all right, guys, we're shutting down. See you later. Yes, they did. I guarantee you they heard you. I don't know. Yeah, they can see your hand. I get a chance to. Yeah. Okay. Leave that corner. I know. It is it does need done. There. That one spot, I think it might be a piece of tape from another project that fell. I just gotta peel it up. Where's the game? He said too. I was in such a hurry this morning, Creature, just getting the angle set that I didn't even see it until we were live, and I was like, "Oh, there's dust in the corner," because there was a chair. There was a chair over there that we had to move, obviously. Click to see the attachment. Fallout 4 is going next gen. Oh. Interesting. I'll be interested to test that out. I'll be interested to test that one out. Studio mode. I actually think we should be over here, if memory is correct. And then, how do I know if it's okay? Sound is working. All right, chat. Let me customize. Make sure we have the right thing featured. We are really, really hoping that you guys support gameplay, especially when we space it out like this. Very unlikely that you will get spoilers. You should be ahead of me by now if you're that committed. So again, we're hoping that is that's something that we can, we can bring to the channel with regularity. I know a lot of you bail the minute you're not getting the talk show, but it's incredibly important for the life of this channel for us to be able to do gameplay. There's big things coming, and so we can't just, play a game like Modern Warfare 2 and especially God of War. We can't play these games and then just immediately walk away. What just happened? Oh my gosh. I quick closed. I pressed something really quickly on my keyboard and I just closed down my entire browser. Oops. That was really frustrating. I don't even know how I did that. I was trying to type a hashtag, and I ended up closing the whole browser. Okay. Weird and kind of awkward. Hit this. That's weird. All right, if you guys don't like writing redirect, because redirect doesn't always work, please use the link in chat. The link in chat will take you to the new stream. Thanks so much for clicking on this. We're diving back into the Modern Warfare 2 gameplay of the campaign. We're on Mission 7, Violence and Timing. Obviously, if you don't want spoilers, then don't watch until you've caught up or passed me. So we are going to be continuing this. We typically do talk shows on this channel, so make sure and hit subscribe and the bell button. That way you don't miss our live talk shows and coverage. We did one this morning about the God of War Ragnarok preview. So if you want to check that, we combed through, and it was a great discussion, great turnout, really strong stream. I'm going to end that stream and bring everybody over from it. And it'll redirect them to this show. That's a great reason to tune in every